Chapter 1772. Fairy Haoyu recovers. The dark cloud mountains were several million kilometers away from God King Duanmu's dwelling, but it was really nothing to Jianqin. Before long, Jianqin had crossed the distance and arrived outside God King Duanmu's dwelling. The entrance to the dwelling was opened up many years ago, so the dwelling that had been hidden away for countless years was now revealed before everyone. Anyone could enter and exit without obstructions. Originally, there was no origin energy in God King Duanmu's dwelling, but as the entrance was opened up, the space inside was reconnected with the outside world. All the dense origin energy in the outside world poured into the dwelling, causing it to become filled with origin energy. In the past, there was only radiant saint force inside. Jianqin erased his presence and stood outside the dwelling with a low profile. He gazed around, observing the surroundings habitually. Although the God King's dwelling had been open for many years now, there were still many people gathered in the surroundings. These people ranged from the origin realm to gods. Without any exception, the people would glance towards the entrance from time to time, and even when they conversed with the people beside them, they would pay attention to the entrance. Jianqin hovered in the sky. There were people all around him, and people would enter or leave the dwelling from time to time. As a result, his arrival was nothing special, and did not catch anyone's attention. This was because people would constantly arrive or leave the dwelling. Jianqin only glanced around out of habit, but his face changed very soon. Even though many people moved around, he could clearly sense that a few of the people who stood without moving seemed to be in positions that followed certain laws as if they stood in a tremendous formation. There's someone setting a trap here? Jianqin was surprised inside. He carefully observed where the people were standing without his expression changing at all, and confirmed his thoughts even more. The people just happened to be standing in position for a tremendous formation. This formation does seem rather familiar. Why does it seem like a teleportation formation? Jianqin became rather stern. After checking it again, he finally confirmed that the people were standing in a teleportation formation. As he had studied the teleportation on the Tianyuan continent a little, he was able to recognize it very quickly even though he did not possess any mastery over formations. Someone is scheming against Fairy Haoyu or the overgods in the dwelling. Once people enter the formation, they'll be sent to somewhere else. It'll be extremely dangerous, or even a zone of danger. Jianqin's expression became ugly as he felt relieved that he had made it here in time. Otherwise, someone would probably ambush Fairy Haoyu once she emerged from the dwelling. Fairy Haoyu was very powerful in her former life, a primordial realm expert, but Jianqin refused to believe that she could recover her peak strength from God King Duanmu's possessions alone. At the same time, over 30 overgods barraged the layer of power from laws in the depths of the dwelling. The layer of power was powerful, but it was only being worn away as it had no way to replenish itself. As a result, the layer had become extremely fragile after withstanding against attacks for so long. Fairy Haoyu was no longer an illusionary soul now. She had condensed her body, and after a period of recovery, her cultivation had reached peak god as well. She was only a step away from overgod. God King Duanmu's remains beside her had vanished, replaced by a white pile of ashes. Quick, everyone put in some more force. The layer of power is about to be dispersed, and God King Duanmu's possessions are going to end up in our hands. A late overgod called out among the overgods who were attacking the layer of power. He immediately struck out as hard as he could, hitting the thin layer of power heavily. All the other overgods gathered their energies as well and struck out with full force. Although Fairy Haoyu had taken away God King Duanmu's space ring, were they really supposed to fear a soul that had just condensed a body with so many people present? Boom. The layer of power finally collapsed after withstanding everyone's full-powered attacks, and it slowly dispersed, finally exposing Fairy Haoyu who had always been protected in there. As soon as the power of laws collapsed, late overgod Yangkai turned into a blur, and shot towards Fairy Haoyu as quickly as he could. His powerful hands directly reached towards the space ring in Fairy Haoyu's hands as his eyes burned with desire. Everyone present could sense that Fairy Haoyu was only a late god, so they did not take her too seriously. As soon as Yangkai moved, the other late overgods moved as well as they rushed towards Fairy Haoyu. They were no slower than Yangkai. Behind them were the mid-overgods, And there were even a few other early overgods. They were slower, so they fell behind. Even though they were not as powerful as the late overgods right now, they felt no fear, deciding to take part in the fight for the space ring. Very few of them were bold enough to provoke late overgods during other times, but they had all abandoned their fear now that God King Duanmu's treasures were presented before them. How dare you? At this moment, Fairy Haoyu's eyes snapped open from her seated position in the sky. She stared coldly at the fierce overgods, and her face appeared dignified. At that moment, she seemed to have become a great god, as if she could look down on everything like ants. Even her gaze towards the overgods was as if she was looking at ants she could crush with a finger. The overgods immediately shivered from her gaze. Even though Fairy Haoyu had not recovered, the dignified manner she possessed remained. With that, just a single glance was enough to cause the overgods to experience chills. However, she had not recovered her strength yet. The overgods knew that she was only a late god, so she was unable to deter them. Fairy Haoyu's face turned cold. Even though she had only recovered to the point of late god right now, she felt no fear against over 30 overgods. She raised a finger and a bright full moon condensed in a single moment. Chapter 1773. Slaughtering overgods. The full moon shone extremely brightly with strands of clear moonlight that enveloped Fairy Haoyu. Fairy Haoyu became filled with a sacred beauty under the pure and gentle moonlight. She seemed like a fairy that had come from the moon. That was how otherworldly she seemed. An unpredictable presence permeated her surroundings. Suddenly, a heavy, icy cold killing intent began to radiate from the picturesque scene. The moon above her head suddenly began to shine brighter, as it emitted an extremely thick pillar of light towards the overgods with lightning speed. The overgods who charged towards Fairy Haoyu did not treat Fairy Haoyu's attack with any seriousness at all. After all, Fairy Haoyu was only a late god. She was unable to threaten them. Even if she used a powerful battle skill, it would only be able to make early overgods become stern. However, the overgods were no longer able to remain composed as the pillar of light enveloped them. All their faces underwent overwhelming changes, and they were now filled with shock. Indeed, they had no need to take the energy hidden within the pillar of light seriously, but there were extremely powerful laws in there as well. At that moment, everyone immediately felt their bodies pause when the moonlight enveloped them. They had been frozen in the same posture as the moonlight enveloped them, as if they had become stuck in a picture, unable to move at all. What is this ability? I actually can't move. What is going on? The over 30 overgods were greatly shocked. They immediately circulated their origin energy as they tried to break free. At the same time, strands of power from laws condensed, attacking the constraints of the moonlight as chains of laws. Fairy Haoyu paled after using the ability, and a smear of weakness appeared on her face. However, she did not hesitate at all. She drifted over and arrived before a late overgod with lightning speed, directly extending a finger towards his forehead. Even though the late overgod was trapped, he could still utilize the powerful origin energy within him. The origin energy burst out of his body and enveloped him as a barrier. At the same time, he controlled his power of laws to attack Fairy Haoyu. However, regardless of what defensive measures he tried to take, they were useless before Fairy Haoyu's finger. His power of laws dispersed while the origin energy around him collapsed. Fairy Haoyu's finger directly pierced through his forehead with a strand of moonlight force and wiped out his soul. However, Fairy Haoyu became even paler after claiming the life of a late overgod. She seemed to become even weaker than before, but she did not stop. Her gaze was cold as she extended a finger towards a second late overgod. Spurt. Fairy Haoyu easily killed a second late overgod under everyone's attention. Even though Fairy Haoyu was only a late god right now, she was able to kill late overgods like ants. They were unable to put up any resistance before her at all. It was just that the movement took a great toll on Fairy Haoyu. She seemed to become even weaker after killing 2 late overgods, and her face had even become rather haggard. With that, all the overgods paled. All of them gazed towards Fairy Haoyu in fear, but they were all trapped and unable to move. They could only watch Fairy Haoyu make her way towards them like a god of death. They had been reduced to sitting ducks. Gritting her teeth, Fairy Haoyu extended a third finger. Her target was Yang Kai from the divine kingdom of Pingtian. Yang Kai's eyes narrowed to the size of pinheads. As he watched Fairy Haoyu's finger grow closer and closer, he became extremely worried. He was filled with a sense of dread that he had never experienced before. His body was trapped, and he was immobilized. Let alone fighting back, he was not even able to dodge. If you kill me, Jianchen's death is certain. Yang Kai brought up Jianchen in this desperate situation. Even Yang Kai knew that he was speaking groundlessly. It could even be described as an immature joke, as Jianchen had been saved long ago and was not present. Moreover, even he feared Jianchen's 2 strands of profound sword qi very much. However, there was nothing else he could do aside from bringing up Jianchen in a lie. As expected, Fairy Haoyu's finger came to a halt when she heard Yang Kai's words. It was at this time that Yang Kai bellowed out. Origin energy surged out from him, and he finally broke free from the restraints with the other overgods. He directly threw a punch towards Fairy Haoyu. At the same time, the other overgods behind him launched full-powered attacks towards Fairy Haoyu. They could tell from Fairy Haoyu's face that she was extremely weak right now. They were certain that it was impossible for her to keep casting her powerful techniques. Sigh, my soul is too weak right now. I can't fully use my comprehension of the laws of the world, so I can't even last for long even with the techniques that take the least toll on me. Fairy Haoyu sighed inside. She did not put up a fight against the overgods. With a wave of her hand, she took away the space rings of the 2 late overgods before directly flying towards the exit. Over half of the overgods pursued her from behind. They constantly sent strands of sword qi towards her. The sword qi struck the surrounding rock in the dwelling and emitted constant rumblings. They could tell that Fairy Haoyu was already a spent force. She no longer possessed the might that allowed her to slaughter the 2 late overgods so easily before. The remaining overgods had all been stunned by how Fairy Haoyu had killed the 2 late overgods. They did not dare to pursue. Yang Kai happened to be one of them. He glanced past the corpses of the 2 late overgods as cold sweat covered his forehead. So close. I avoided dying here by just this much, thought Yang Kai. He stared in the direction which Fairy Haoyu had flown off with lingering fear, and he seemed rather dejected. He had clearly given up on God King Duanmu's space ring. At this moment, Jianchen's face suddenly changed as he stood outside the dwelling. He suddenly looked over towards the dwelling. The disturbances in the dwelling were just too great. Let alone Jianchen, but even a few gods sensed the great disturbances in the dwelling. Chapter 1774. Jianchen interferes. Fairy Haoyu has succeeded in condensing her body? Delight immediately appeared on Jianchen's face as he looked towards the entrance. But the next moment he frowned and became extremely stern. He could already see Fairy Haoyu fleeing with a pale face as many overgods pursued her aggressively. Jianchen's face became sunken. He directed his gaze towards the huge formation that had been created silently, and a gleam of cold light flashed through his eyes. It was filled with cold killing intent. The teleportation formation was completely formed from cultivators at various levels standing in specific places. It seemed like a mess that lacked any order. Only those who knew about or were familiar with formations could notice the mysteries hidden within. As a result, basically no one else apart from Jianchen discovered the teleportation formation outside the dwelling. However, as Fairy Haoyu rapidly fled from the dwelling, the people who stood in formation began to move. Clearly, they wanted to send Fairy Haoyu away as soon as she emerged. Don't panic, listen to my instructions. An old voice rang out in the heads of all the cultivators who took part in the formation. Only those in the formation could hear the voice. The owner of the voice was an extremely ordinary young man who hid amongst the crowd. The strength he revealed was not great. It was only at the level of early gods. He did not raise the attention of the people gathered outside the dwelling at all with his strength. Coupled with his apparent ordinariness, no one noticed him. At this moment, the young man's eyes shone brightly. He stared at the dwelling eagerly and excitedly. He thought inside, fight, fight. The more fiercely you fight, the better. It's best if you all become injured. Only then will I be happy. The possessions of God King Duanmu are destined to be mine. No one will be fighting over it with me. The young man slowly extended his right hand. He held an 8 trigrams disc in his right hand, and a huge sleeve covered it. The rumbles from the dwelling became even more intense. Fairy Hao Yu rapidly approached the entrance. Right now, even the many gods and deities gathered outside the entrance could see her clearly. Many people immediately began to retreat rapidly, backing away from the entrance. They were afraid that they would become innocent casualties of the shockwaves from the battle between overgods. However, many people chose to remain where they were. To no surprise, these people included the many cultivators who took part in the teleportation formation. Get ready. The young man also became nervous in the crowd as he communicated with all the people in the formation. It had already reached the moment of truth now. Finally, under everyone's gazes, the white-clothed fairy Hao Yu flew out of the dwelling. A layer of clear moonlight surrounded her. Activate the formation. The young man basically bellowed towards the people in the formation secretly. At the same time, he threw his 8 trigrams disc into the sky. Immediately, a powerful beam of white light shot into the sky, and the huge teleportation formation outside the dwelling was activated. It shone with light as terrifying energy rolled through the surroundings, causing the expressions of everyone outside the dwelling to change. It's a formation. This is a formation. Someone actually secretly cast down such a powerful formation outside the dwelling. Heavens, I actually failed to sense it at all when I was standing in it. This tremendous formation has actually been cast using several tens of thousands of people. Heavens, what extravagance! The person who cast down this formation must possess great mastery over formations. Many cultivators stared at the formation in shock as they cried out outside the dwelling. At the same time, Fairy Hao Yu frowned as she gazed at the formation in the surroundings. Fury had covered her face, and she snorted coldly. It's actually a teleportation formation. Looks like the place where I'll be sent to has already been set up long ago. Ha ha ha. I never thought that I'd be reduced to the point where I would fall for the schemes of ants. Fairy Hao Yu laughed coldly. She had already entered the teleportation formation now. Immediately, with a single movement, she shot towards the exterior as quickly as she could. Suddenly, an 8 trigrams disc flew over from the distance. It shone with a hazy light as profound formations flickered and revolved around the disc. The appearance of the disc had caused the space there to thicken. Space actually froze at a visible rate, suspending the origin energy there and disturbing the region of space. Fairy Hao Yu was affected as well. She moved extremely slowly as a mysterious power sealed up her surroundings. Fairy Hao Yu's eyes were cold. Even though she had fallen into a horrible situation, she did not panic. She remained as calm as she was normally. However, her pupils gradually whitened. They shone with pure white light like moonlight as if her pupils had become moons. Fairy Hao Yu's comprehension of laws in her former life had reached an extremely profound level. However, she still had not recovered her soul, so she was unable to use the power of laws from her peak condition. However, now that she had run out of choices, she was prepared to burn her soul again and use the power of laws from the primordial realm. At this moment, extremely powerful sword qi soared into the sky outside the teleportation formation. Jian Chun, who had been hidden within the crowd all along, moved. Densely packed, raindrop-like specks of sword qi gathered around him. Even though the sword qi was weak and unable to harm overgods or even kill gods, it was fatal to deities and origin realm cultivators. Gods and deities took up a tiny portion among the several tens of thousand people who stood in the formation. Most of them were at the origin realm. Fairy Hao Yu could not help but become startled when she sensed the sword qi suddenly appear. She quickly turned her head towards Jian Chen and immediately stopped burning her soul. She could not help but smile faintly. Jian Chen was stern as icy cold, killing intent shone in his eyes. As he extended his finger, the countless strands of sword qi around him immediately shot towards the people in the formation as a huge, silver-white chain. Countless strands of sword qi ripped through the sky as they shone with dazzling white light. From afar, it seemed like a waterfall that was extending and spreading across the sky, creating an extremely grand scene. Chapter 1775. Chanlong's scheme. The young man that was hidden amongst the crowd and commanding all the cultivators almost leapt up when he saw Jianchen's actions, as if Jianchen had crossed his bottom line. His face completely sank in powerful killing intent, and surging fury raged in his gaze towards Jianchen. Jianchen, if you dare ruin what I've set up, I'll never forgive you. The young man bellowed out as terrifying killing intent permeated his surroundings. He immediately charged over as quickly as he could in an attempt to stop Jianchen's strands of sword qi. As the young man charged towards Jianchen, his presence steadily rose as well, and it instantly reached his limit. He was no early god and was clearly an overgod. A late overgod? Jianchen became stern as he glanced towards the young man. The sword qi that shot towards the people in the formation moved even faster than before now. The young man charged over. He let loose a furious roar as his presence surged. He had reached his full speed, transforming into a streak of light. He wanted to use his body as a shield to block all the sword qi. However, even with his strength at a late overgod, he was still a little slow. When he arrived before the dense cluster of sword qi, a small portion had already approached the huge teleportation formation, heading towards the people in the formation. Immediately, miserable cries rang out. In the blink of an eye, several hundred Origin Realm cultivators and deities were riddled with holes. Sword qi had even passed through the heads of a few people, wiping out their souls. Just this single attack claimed the lives of several hundred, or even over 1,000 Origin Realm cultivators and deities. Blood splashed into the sky and fell, making it seem like it was raining blood. Swathes of lifeless corpses fell from the sky. Even though there were several tens of thousand people who took part in the formation was so detailed that the teleportation would fail even if a minute error occurred. The deaths of all the people directly damaged the teleportation formation severely, preventing it from continuing its operation. The huge teleportation gradually dimmed. The deaths of the people had prevented the formation from filling up with energy and continuing to work. As a result, the other people in the formation suffered a powerful backlash, and they all vomited blood and became heavily injured. Jianchen, you've ruined everything. I will never forgive you. The late overgod roared out angrily. He was utterly furious as terrifying killing intent permeated his surroundings. It was enough to cause people to shiver. So close. It was so close. If you gave me just a little more time, I would have been able to transport her away. At that time, everything she obtained from the dwelling would have been mine. I could have even learnt about many more things from the soul that recovered her body. God damn it. It was just the final step. The young man roared out furiously inside. His mood had changed so drastically that he had almost gone berserk. He had expended so much effort and had paid a hefty price to secretly cast down a teleportation formation under the noses of all the people present. Just when he was about to watch it all succeed, Jianchen unexpectedly killed his way over, reducing his efforts to nothing. At the same time, all the overgods who pursued Fairy How You saw the young man. All their faces paled from anger. Master Chanlong, it's actually you. Master Chanlong, didn't you say that you wouldn't be taking part in the fight for God King Duanmu's possessions, so you left the dwelling? I never thought you would be so sly, secretly casting down such a great teleportation formation outside the dwelling. Master Chanlong, your actions don't seem to match your status. The other side of the teleportation formation must be extremely dangerous. If we were transported, we would probably be as good as dead. Master Chanlong, we will remember this. Let's wait and see what happens in the future. The overgods all called out angrily. Many of their faces sank because Fairy How You was not the only one who had fallen into the formation earlier. There were several pursuing overgods as well. Once the formation was activated, Fairy How You would not be the only one who was transported away. The young man completely ignored the insults the overgod spewed. He charged towards Jianchen furiously. As he swung his hands, he immediately threw out banners for formations that flew towards Jianchen. His appearance also underwent a drastic change at that moment. He became a gray-haired old man. He was Master Chanlong. Jianchen drifted backwards gently, avoiding Master Chanlong's formation banners from afar. At the same time, he launched strands of sword qi towards the formation banners. Master Chanlong formed a seal with his hands. Every single banner he had tossed out shone with dazzling light as powerful ripples of energy expanded. The banners he threw out actually connected in that moment. In the end, it formed a huge python that was several hundred meters long. The python was completely assembled from the inscriptions of the formations. The presence it gave off was no weaker than Late-over God. As Master Chanlong extended a finger towards Jianchen from the distance, the huge python immediately charged towards Jianchen as it wriggled its tail. On the other hand, Master Chanlong charged towards Fairy Hao Yu. We can never allow a sly bastard like Chanlong to succeed. A person immediately cried out among the overgods. Soon afterwards, all the overgods who had never forgotten about God King Duanmu's possessions charged towards Fairy Hao Yu as well. However, under the disturbance of Master Chanlong's disc, the space there thickened, causing the overgods to all slow down when they charged into the area. Master Chanlong was the only one that remained unaffected. On the other side, Jianchen battled against Master Chanlong's huge python that had been constructed from formation banners. Jianchen formed a seal. Immediately, a golden sword chi condensed, shooting towards the python's head as a golden streak of light. Boom! With a deafening boom, the python emerged unscathed after taking on Jianchen's Daoyuo sword. Jianchen's attack had only slowed down the python slightly. Chapter 1776. The Trapped Soul. This python is very difficult to deal with. Master Chanlong's mastery over formations really has reached an extremely profound level. He has broadened my horizons over how formations can be used. He could actually produce something so powerful, Jianchen thought. He ignored the python and flew towards Fairy Hao Yu. However, the python did not let him go unhindered. Although it had only condensed from a formation, it was extremely intelligent. With a sweep of its tail, the tail turned into a blur and shot over with lightning speed. Bang! The tail struck Jianchen's back with unimaginably tremendous force. It directly reduced his clothes to shreds. His entire body was blown away while his back was reduced to a bloody mess. Jianchen's gaze turned cold. He circulated his chaotic force as the injury on his back immediately healed at an unbelievable rate. It closed up in the blink of an eye. What a tough body. That's the first time I've ever seen such a tough body. At this moment, a mental pulse emerged from the python. Its tone was filled with amazement. However, soon afterwards, another mental pulse emerged. What? How is that possible? Just how did you make a full recovery? My eyes must be seeing wrong. Yes, it's my eyes. I've seen wrong. How can your recovery rate be so fiendish? I must have seen wrong. It must have been my eyes. Sigh, I've already weakened to a point like this where I see illusions, and it was so realistic as well. Jianchen's eyes narrowed. He stared at the python that was constructed from flickering inscriptions, and a sliver of surprise gradually appeared in his eyes. He suddenly discovered that the huge python was not just a series of inscriptions. There was quite a powerful soul hidden in the python as well. Jianchen estimated that the soul was a late-over god's. There's actually a trapped-over god's soul? Jianchen said in surprise. He could already tell that the late-over god's soul was trapped in the formation to strengthen the formation. At the same time, it seemed to have become the spirit of the formation. However, Jianchen's words seemed to have offended the soul trapped within the formation. The trapped soul roared out. So what if I'm trapped? Kiddo, let me warn you. Don't look down on trapped souls. Even trapped souls have dignity. You're trapped within the formation, so you've become Master Chanlong's puppet. It must have been against your will to end up like this. Move. I don't want to fight you. Jianchen said coldly. What? You're a brat who's still wet behind the ears. Yet you want me to move? Humph, I'm not going to move. I'm going to stand in your way. What can you do about it? Come hit me if you have the ability. The soul caused a clamor cockily. On the other side, Fairy Hao Yu dodged Master Chanlong's attacks closely. She managed to avoid each attack by the skin of her teeth. She was in an extremely precarious situation. However, she was completely composed and did not become flustered at all. She was ready to burn her soul at any time. However, the price she would have to pay for burning her soul was extremely great. She really did not want to do so unless she ran out of choices. Jian Chen's face immediately turned cold when he saw the dangerous situation Fairy Hao Yu faced. With a thought, 2 strands of profound sword qi appeared above his head, and they radiated with powerful sword intent that even shocked over gods. As soon as Jian Chen's profound sword qi appeared, it attracted the attention of everyone present. At that moment, whether it was Master Qianlong or the other overgods who pursued Fairy Hao Yu, they all focused on Jian Chen. A sliver of fear appeared in their eyes as they became cautious. Every single overgod feared Jian Chen's profound sword qi, including late overgods. Although a single strand of profound sword qi was not enough to kill a single late overgod, it could still deal almost fatal damage to them. Brat W, what is that? W, what are you trying to you? If you don't want to die, put that away. The soul within the formation stuttered slightly. Anyone could tell that he feared the profound sword qi too. After all, he was only a fragile soul now. He could only display the strength of a late overgod through the formations. Once he lost the formation, he would become extremely weak without a body. Cold light flickered through Jian Chen's eyes as he stared at the huge python that blocked his way. He was just about to shoot the first strand of profound sword qi. The soul controlled the huge formation that created the python. If it wanted to keep Jian Chen busy, Jian Chen really could not break free, so he could only use the profound sword qi. The trapped soul immediately became flustered, perhaps due to seeing the coldness in Jian Chen's eyes. He said, "B, don't look at me like that. W, what are you trying to do? Don't shoot, don't shoot. Brother, please don't shoot. I'll let you through. I'll let you through, alright? If you're still unhappy, just direct it all towards Qianlong. Treat me as if I don't exist, like you hadn't seen me." The trapped soul immediately became cowardly before the terrifying power of the profound sword qi. It fled far away, no longer blocking Jian Chen's path. At this moment, Master Qianlong's palm struck Fairy Hao Yu in the distance. She vomited blood and became heavily injured. Jian Chen ignored the fleeing huge python. He glared at Master Qianlong, and without any hesitation he immediately sent out his first strand of profound sword qi. Swish! The profound sword qi turned into a strand of silver-white light as it shot out with unbelievable speed. Even late overgods were unable to capture it with their naked eyes, forcing them to rely on the senses of their souls to follow its trajectory. Even late overgods were unable to dodge this attack that possessed such terrifying speed. They could only face it head-on. Master Qianlong had raised his guard against Jian Chen's profound sword qi long ago. The moment it shot out, Master Qianlong pulled back his 8 trigrams disc that influenced the space in the surroundings. The disc flickered with profound inscriptions as it turned into a huge shield before Master Qianlong. Boom! The profound sword qi struck the disc and emitted a great boom. A terrifying force emerged, which pushed the 8 trigrams disc into Master Qianlong's body. Spurt! Master Qianlong vomited blood as he was blown far away with his disc. The space immediately returned to its previous state without the disturbances caused by the 8 trigrams disc. Hao Yu and even the overgods recovered their speeds. At that moment, terrifying pressures permeated the surroundings. The overgods all attacked Fairy Hao Yu as chains of energy shot towards her. At the same time, they held treasures in their hands to prepare against Jian Chen's second strand of profound sword qi at any time. Fairy Hao Yu's body was not as tough as Jian Chen's. Moreover, Master Qianlong's palm strike had injured her, so she was now heavily injured. She was unable to dodge all the attacks from the overgods. After all, she was just a late god right now. Swish! With a flash of silver-white light, Jian Chen launched his second strand of profound sword qi. However, he did not target a single person within the group. Instead, he aimed at the attacks launched from all of them. Boom! 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 With a string of rumbles, the profound sword qi directly tore through 10 attacks before dispersing. The chains of energies from 6 remaining mid-overgods continued towards Fairy Hao Yu aggressively. Chapter 1777. Escape. After using the 2 strands of profound sword qi, Jian Chen's power of the soul was completely drained. Dizziness descended, making him seem tipsy. Jian Chen bit down on his tongue. and heart-wrenching pain immediately flooded out, causing his head to immediately quiver. His consciousness snapped back from the dizziness and sleepiness. Daoyuo sword. Tai sword technique. Determination flooded Jian Chen's eyes as a sliver of madness appeared in them. He used his sword techniques as quickly as possible, sending out 2 strands of sword qi. Boom. Boom. Jian Chen's 2 strands of powerful sword qi collided with 2 chains of energy. Even though his sword techniques possessed extraordinary power, the power of the laws of the sword he could use right now clearly could not compare to the power he wielded at his peak condition. After all, the power of his soul had been completely drained. As a result, the sword qi was far weaker than usual. Jian Chen's 2 strands of sword qi dispersed, while the 2 chains of energy continued onwards without slowing down at all. They hurtled towards Jian Chen, only becoming much weaker. Jian Chen circulated chaotic force as he pushed the defenses of the chaotic body to the limit. He used his body to stand before the injured fairy Hao Yu. Along with an angry roar, he swung his fists toward the 2 chains of energy. Chaotic force surrounded the fists, radiating with a destructive presence. It was very difficult for him to use his laws of the sword at the level of Overgod now that the power of his soul was drained. He had blown up the flying snow sword as well, so the only weapon Jian Chen possessed right now were his fists. Using the twin swords before so many overgods was just asking for trouble. Although it was unlikely that overgods would recognize the twin swords as even many god kings would not recognize them, he was afraid that the news would make it out and experts who did recognize the swords would get wind of it. Jian Chen struck the 2 chains of energy heavily with a boom. His body shook violently as his hands turned into bloody messes. They bled profusely. Jian Chen frowned from the intense pain. At that moment, he could feel that he had almost lost all sensation in his hand. Numbness accompanied the pain, and it even made him wonder if his arms remained or not. At the same time, the chains of energy from the 4 other mid-overgods landed on Jian Chen's body. He immediately vomited blood and was blown away. Behind Jian Chen was Fairy Hao Yu. He naturally struck her immediately, and the 2 of them basically stuck together as they were blown into the distance. Jian Chen could smell the special fragrance of a woman and some softness against his back, but he was in no position to think about these things right now. His face had paled, and he coughed up blood. He was heavily injured. His chaotic body was very powerful, but his opponents right now were mid-overgods, and there were over a dozen of them. Jian Chen did not possess any advantages in the laws of the sword before mid-overgods, and his personal cultivation was much weaker as well. He did not possess a weapon either. Aside from the toughness and regeneration of his chaotic body, he basically possessed no more advantages. Jian Chen, you clearly already made it out alive, so why did you return? Fairy Hao Yu's voice rang out in Jian Chen's head. Even though Fairy Hao Yu was heavily injured and basically in a hopeless situation, she remained extremely composed. She was not flustered at all, as if she did not realize just how hopeless the situation she faced was. What do you think? I've come back for you. Or you probably would have fallen for Master Chanlong's trap already. You would have been sent to a place he has already prepared. Don't talk so much now. You go first. There are too many of them. I can't last for too long, Jian Chen said sternly. Afterwards, he pushed Fairy Hao Yu far away. At the same time, he swallowed a healing pill he had obtained from God King Duanmu's dwelling and rapidly circulated his chaotic body, healing as quickly as he could. Fairy Hao Yu watched Jian Chen push her far away, with rather mixed emotions while he faced off over a dozen overgods. She sighed gently inside and immediately stopped. She quickly charged back towards Jian Chen. What are you coming back for? We're not their opponents. Jian Chen panicked when he saw Fairy Hao Yu actually return, and he called out with some frustration. He could last a short while against over a dozen overgods with his chaotic body. Once Fairy Hao Yu had fled, he could run away with the linear lightning release. However, now that Fairy Hao Yu had returned, Jian Chen's plan for escape fell through. He was no longer able to use it. He did not feel confident about escaping from the overgods with Fairy Hao Yu at all. What do you think? I've come back to save you. Do you think you can still escape from the pursuit of over a dozen overgods? Moreover, there are even late overgods among them, Fairy Hao Yu said sarcastically. She quickly arrived before Jian Chen. and before he could react, her arm grabbed around Jian Chen's waist. At the same time, she burned her vitality through a secret technique, and a huge moon immediately appeared. It enveloped Jian Chen and Fairy Haoyu, shining with blinding light. The light was so bright that no one dared to stare at it directly. Even the overgods could not help but close their eyes before the light. The light came and went quickly. When it vanished, the huge moon had vanished as well, along with Fairy Haoyu and Jian Chen. "Oh no, we've let them escape." The overgods all swore as they stared at the empty space with sunken faces. The senses of their souls blanketed the region as they searched for traces of the two. However, they found nothing in the end. Let alone their traces, they even failed to find their presence in the region enclosed by the senses of their souls. Clearly, Jian Chen and Fairy Haoyu had departed from the region that they could cover with their souls in a short instance. Master Chanlong flew over from afar with a sunken face. He stared at where Jian Chen and Fairy Haoyu had vanished from as his entire body shook from anger. Chapter 1778. Reunion. Impressive, impressive. That kiddo really is just too impressive. I really must hold him in high esteem. He clearly hasn't been cultivating for long, yet he possesses such great strength. What a prodigy! He must be a prodigy, a supreme prodigy as a matter of fact. The trapped soul flew over from afar and constantly muttered beside Master Chanlong. Master Chanlong, you really have caused trouble for yourself now. You actually offended a supreme prodigy. The soul acted as if he had sunk into his thoughts and said seriously, "With my eyes that can see through the mysteries of the world, I can tell that the kid hasn't cultivated for 1,000 years. No, 1,000 years is too long. It should only be a few hundred. Even a few hundred is a little long. It should be even shorter. Are you trying to say he has only cultivated for a century?" Master Chanlong could not help but sneer in response to the soul's exaggerated praise from Jian Chen. He snickered at the soul's words. "Yeah, it should be 100 years. That shouldn't be too far off." The soul nodded seriously. However, he soon became stunned. He said in complete surprise, Chanlong, how did you know that the kid has only cultivated for 100 years? Can you see through the mysteries of the world like me?" Master Chanlong laughed scornfully. He no longer bothered with the trapped soul. His hand seals changed, and the huge python before him immediately turned into several formation banners, which he now clutched in his hand. "Chanlong, I haven't even told you yet. How did you know that kid has only been cultivating for 100 years? A mental pulse emerged from the formation banners. "Reaching over God in 100 years? Do you think I'm as easy to trick as a kid?" Master Chanlong sneered. He stared at the soul like it was an idiot check, and with a wave of his hand he directly put the formation banners away in his space ring. Jian Chen and Fairy Haoyu sat beneath a large tree in a mountain range that stretched for millions of kilometers. They had consumed healing pills, and were currently working on their wounds. Although Jian Chen had withstood the attacks from several mid-overgods, he used just 2 hours to make a full recovery thanks to the toughness of his chaotic body. Jian Chen opened his eyes after healing. He saw Fairy Haoyu sitting nearby and knew that it was very difficult for her to achieve a full recovery without a few days to do so. As a result, he arrived somewhere nearby and took out the bright moon divine hall from his space ring. He entered it by himself. "Big brother, you've finally come to see us. We haven't seen you in so long. I miss you so much." A familiar voice rang out as soon as Jian Chen entered the bright moon divine hall. Xiao Ling in a white dress bounded over excitedly, and she tightly clung onto Jian Chen's arm. Jian Chen glanced over and discovered that everyone was not actually cultivating. They sat in a hall as they spoke with the people from the Mo clan and the Ando clan. However, everyone was looking at Jian Chen now. "Moore, you've reached late reciprocity?" Jian Chen's gaze landed on the purple-dressed Shangguan Moore first, and he immediately beamed. Shangguan Moore could not help but smile when she saw Jian Chen. She said, "You better look carefully. I'm not the only one who has reached peak reciprocity." Jian Chen immediately looked around carefully when he heard that, and discovered that indeed, Shangguan Moore was not the only one who had reached peak reciprocity. Houston, Xiao Jin, Xiao Ling, the White Tiger, and the seven-colored heaven-devouring beast had all reached peak reciprocity. Although Rue Jin, Heiyu, and Honglian had not reached peak reciprocity yet, they had reached early reciprocity. Even newbies, who always wore golden robes, had reached early reciprocity. Among the 5 people from the world of Forsaken Saints, Xiongzhong had reached peak reciprocity. The strengths of the 4 other returnants elders had increased drastically as well, reaching mid-reciprocity. Although it had not been very long since they came to the Saints' world, everyone had progressed extremely quickly. It was something that was unimaginable if they remained in the lower world. Good. Looks like there are going to be godhood experts among the people from our lower world. Jianchen was extremely pleased, and could not help but laugh aloud. We're only able to cultivate so quickly because of Big Brother's divine crystals. Our cultivation speed would be far slower without them, said Xiaojin. He had grown now that a few years had passed. He seemed around 8 or 9 now. Of course, that was not his actual age. It was just that he was a metal spirit, a natural spirit of the world, so his body grew extremely slowly. If it were not for how fragile this divine hall is, I could have reached godhood at any time, the white tiger said proudly. The laws of the world were the key to godhood, but he had already grasped them back on the Tianyuan continent. Houston also walked over. He stared at Jianchen benevolently and said, Jianchen, how's the situation outside? It's best if you find a time to let us all out. Quite a few of us have reached the limits of cultivating here. Continuing to cultivate would be pointless. At the same time, we need to comprehend the laws of the world to reach godhood. We can only become deities sooner outside. At that time, this old bag of bones will be able to help you out with your problems. Although it's very difficult for a deity to help, don't forget that I cultivate the Empyrean demon arts. Coupled with the Empyrean demon orb, I'll be able to share a part of your burden. Jianchen laughed aloud. Uncle Xiao, just focus on your cultivation. Your current strength isn't much if you compare it to the Saints' world as a whole, but it'll still be enough for you to gain a stable footing in the divine kingdom of Pingtian. You'll all be able to go outside and see the Saints' world before long. Jianchen also became filled with eagerness as he said that. He really could reign supreme in a region within the divine kingdom with his current strength. He planned on settling down in the Dong'an province with everyone once the matters of God King Duanmu's dwelling were resolved. He could potentially settle them down there for the time being. After all, he could not run around all the time. Moreover, even Jianchen had no idea if he could continue to keep his special identity a secret. Once it was revealed, he was worried that he would become the public enemy of the Saints' world. Afterwards, Jianchen provided guidance to everyone's cultivation, and shared his own personal experiences with cultivation and comprehending the laws of the world. He also searched through the space rings of the gods and overgods he had slain, removing some helpful cultivation methods, battle skills, and so on. He handed it all over, hoping that it would be helpful to them. He did not let them out immediately, as he had just managed to escape from the hands of over a dozen overgods earlier. He had no idea whether the overgods would come looking for him. Right now, he still had not completely evaded danger, so letting them out now would be extremely inconvenient. This was because what he worried the most about was their breakthroughs being disturbed. If an overgod just happened to arrive when they were all breaking through, it would pose a great problem. Chapter 1779. Going separate ways in the blink of an eye, 3 days had already passed. Jianchen's face suddenly changed as he was guiding everyone in the bright moon divine hall. After bidding farewell to them all, he directly left the divine hall and appeared in the outside world. Fairy Haoyu's white clothes ruffled outside the bright moon divine hall. Her black hair draped down her back, and her face was flawless. She stood outside the divine hall indifferently as she gave off a sacred presence. She seemed just like an otherworldly goddess that had transcended mortal affairs. "You've fully recovered?" Jianchen said indifferently as he calmly gazed at Fairy Haoyu. Fairy Haoyu stared at Jianchen, and did not reply immediately. However, after a moment of silence, she replied with the same type of calmness. "Yep. I've fully recovered, except I haven't fully recovered my strength. I've used up everything in Duanmu's space ring that would help me regain my strength and create my body. The remaining items all belong to you. There are still a few precious items in there. With that, Fairy Hao Yu tossed God King Duanmu's space ring to Jianchen. Jianchen did not hold back. He directly extended his hand and caught the space ring. He played around with it in his hand. He did not immediately check the contents. Fairy Hao Yu continued, Duanmu's legacy isn't in there. There's nothing that's related to a cultivation method in there. Duanmu's true legacy must be the sword. Ling Hogong has already obtained the golden flying sword. He really is quite lucky. Except he has now offended a vice leader of the Empyrean demon cult, Huayan. Jianchen sighed gently. He really did not know whether it was worth it for Ling Hogong to make a decision like that. Jianchen, what do you plan on doing next? Fairy Hao Yu asked. After a moment of silence, Jianchen replied, I plan on returning to the Dong'an province and gain a footing there for now. That way, I can provide a safe cultivation environment for the people who came up with me from the lower world. At this moment, Jianchen seemed to think of something. Oh right. I've confirmed where we are currently located. We are on the cloud plain of the 49 Great Plains. I wonder how distant your moon god hall is. The cloud plain, Fairy Hao Yu murmured. She immediately frowned, and after a moment of silence she said, the moon god hall is on the polar ice plain that one of the 7 grand exalts, the ice goddess, oversees. It's extremely distant from the cloud plain, and I'll have to cross through over a dozen plains in total to reach there. The only way back is through a plane-level teleportation formation. The cost to use them was nothing to me in the past, but it's an astronomical figure to us now. Fairy Hao Yu furrowed her brows tightly. With a wave of his hand, Jianchen took out the remaining block of high-grade divine crystal he possessed without any hesitation. He said to her, Take this block of divine crystal. I only have this block and a few smaller pieces. Fairy Hao Yu immediately became stunned when she saw the block of high-grade divine crystals, before breaking out into laughter. She said to Jianchen, If you use this single block, it'll be nowhere near enough to make it to even the closest plane. Even if you take out 100 times that amount, it won't be enough. What? Using a teleportation formation costs so much? Jianchen was the one to be shocked now. A block of high-grade divine crystal was a rather large sum to him already. Yet it was not even enough to use a teleportation formation. Using plane-level teleportation formations requires 5 colored divine crystals. Your block is equivalent to 1 million standard high-grade divine crystals. If you convert them into supreme quality divine crystals, it'll only be 10,000 standard-sized divine crystals. Yet a 1-colored divine crystal is worth 100 times more than a high-grade divine crystal as well. As a result, your block of divine crystal is only worth 100 standard 1-colored divine crystals. From the 1-colored divine crystals to the 5-colored divine crystals, each additional color increases its value by 10-fold. Your block of divine crystal is worth a standard 3-colored divine crystal. Jianchen also frowned. Only now did he understand that it was actually so expensive to use a plane-level teleportation formation. Fairy Hao Yu also became worried. Only primordial realm experts possess colored divine crystals. Looks like I won't be able to return to the polar ice plain immediately. I wonder how my father is doing. Your worry is unneeded right now. Although I have no idea what your father is facing, you won't be of any help at all even if you hurry over immediately with your current strength, said Jianchen. Fairy Hao Yu nodded. You're right. I am indeed too weak. I might even end up dead on the way back. My priority right now is to restore my strength. After making up her mind, Fairy Hao Yu's gaze became determined. At that moment, her presence underwent a tremendous change as well. Jianchen's eyes narrowed as he stared at Fairy Hao Yu with some surprise. At that moment, he could suddenly feel a chilling presence from Fairy Hao Yu. It had even given him the impression that even though Fairy Hao Yu was only a late god, she could crush him like an ant, where he would not be able to fight back at all. She really is a primordial realm expert. Jianchen thought as his gaze towards Fairy Hao Yu changed as well. I need to go restore my strength. Jianchen, take this jade talisman with you. Whenever you encounter danger, just crush the talisman, and I'll head over as soon as possible. Of course, it's best that you use it after 5 years have passed from now. Fairy Hao Yu passed a pure white token to Jianchen before directly leaving. She wanted to try her own luck to restore her strength back to her peak as soon as possible. Jianchen watched Fairy Hao Yu leave. He finally looked at the token in his hand after she had completely left. The token was snow white and made from precious jade. A small moon was sculpted onto it. Jianchen could sense an imprint of Fairy Hao Yu's soul within the small moon. Jianchen put the token away and left the place with the bright moon divine hall. After gaining his bearings, he directly flew towards the Dong'an province. As all the treasures of God King Duanmu's dwelling had been taken away, the disturbances its appearance had caused gradually died down. The overgods that had gathered in the dwelling left one by one as well. However, there was still a large group of people gathered within the dwelling as they searched with determination. There were many Origin Realm cultivators, as well as a few deities and gods. They combed through every inch of the dwelling seriously in hopes of an unexpected blessing. There were also a few people who comprehended the laws of the sword that gathered in the second stone hut aside from them, studying the slashes left behind by God King Duanmu. People poured in and out of the great city gates of the provincial city of the Dong'an province. Luxurious carriages drawn by rare beasts rolled along quickly. Chapter 1780. Coming across Qianlong again, there were not just the natives of the Dong'an province within the provincial city. There were many other people from the other 35 provinces of the divine kingdom of Pingtian as well. There were even a few merchants, adventurers, and so on from other divine kingdoms. With the great flow of people, the city was extremely busy. An ordinary young man who only seemed to be in his 20s made his way through the crowd. He followed the people into the city, wearing luxurious robes while maintaining a low profile. The young man's appearance was nothing special, and his strength was average. He was only at the peak of reciprocity. He was the type that could be found in large numbers within the Dong'an province. Stop. What's your name, and where do you come from? Why have you come to the provincial city? Just when the young man was about to enter the city, guards stopped him like everyone else and asked the same questions. I'm Yang Yutian. I come from the sword-seeking province. I've obviously come to the provincial city with plans of settling down. The young man clasped his hands and smiled indifferently. The guard who stopped Yang Yutian glanced at him. Seeing his luxurious robes, the guard determined that he must have possessed some background, so the guard immediately stopped blocking him. The guard smiled. Take this. This is your jade pendant for identification. Just pay 100 low-grade divine crystals, and you can enter. I hope you can settle down in the provincial city. Remember, don't forget to charge up your identification token. If you get caught by guards, don't blame me for not reminding you. Yang Yutian paid 100 low-grade divine crystals for the identification token. He discovered a number of 100 on the token. He could not help but smile when he read the explanation behind the token, and he said, "It's 1 low-grade divine crystal per day in the provincial city. That means it's over 300 for a year. Once the number on the token reaches 0, the guards of the city will even capture you. Looks like not everyone can enter the provincial city. Just a single year costs over 300 low-grade divine crystals, and that's not including living expenses. You can't just cultivate on the streets in the provincial city, or the guards will capture you for that as well. But there's a large-scale energy-gathering formation in the city. The origin energy here is several times denser than the outside world. It really will be much faster cultivating here than outside." Yang Yutian strolled through the streets aimlessly as he murmured to himself. He was clearly Jianchen who had changed his appearance. Jianchen was in no hurry to reveal himself within the provincial city. Instead, he silently entered the place to check on the situation. He and Fairy Hao Yu had benefited the most from God King Duanmu's dwelling. At the same time, they basically offended all the overgods who had gathered there. He really did worry that the overgods would expect him to appear in the provincial city, and were waiting for him here. Although he no longer feared most overgods with his current strength, he was afraid of being surrounded, so he had to be careful. Suddenly, Jianchen froze slightly. He raised his head towards the sky, and he gradually became grim. He carefully let out the senses of his soul as he cautiously expanded it. Suddenly, Jianchen's face changed. Without any hesitation, he immediately flew towards outside the city. At the same time, the space pulsed gently. A huge formation hidden there appeared in an instant, releasing extremely powerful pulses of energy. It enveloped the entire provincial city. Linear lightning release. Jianchen formed a seal with his hand, and he turned into a bolt of lightning. Just when the formation was about to envelope the entire provincial city, he escaped by a hair's breadth and avoided the trap. You really have come to the provincial city. Where do you think you're going? You're staying right here. Master Chanlong suddenly appeared in the sky above the city. His expression was rather strange. He was filled with excitement as he pursued Jianchen with his full speed. At this moment, the formation that Master Chanlong set up earlier had engulfed the city. It was an extremely powerful trapping formation, preventing anyone in the city from leaving the place. The presence of several dozen gods appeared at virtually the same time across the entire city, when the formation engulfed the entire place. Whether it was the people from the powerful clans or the gods from other places, they all roared out angrily as they charged towards the sky. They directly attacked the formation over the city. Who is it? Who is bold enough to seal up the entire provincial city? The provincial city is the capital of one of the 36 provinces of the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian. Are you not afraid of the Divine King's rage, sir? The ancestors of the powerful clans all bellowed out. All their faces had sunken. However, Master Chanlong had already shot off into the distance in pursuit of Jianchen, leaving behind no trace. Jianchen hovered in the sky with a cold expression 1,000,000 kilometers away from the city as he stared coldly as Master Chanlong. He had only used the linear lightning release earlier to escape from the formation. After all, Master Chanlong's skill with formations was so great that even late overgods would struggle to smash through them. Once he became trapped in the formation, he would be forced into an extremely bad position. Jianchen, why aren't you running anymore? Go on, keep fleeing. Master Chanlong smiled at Jianchen with his 8 trigrams disc in hand, acting like Jianchen was done for today. At the same time, he was secretly surprised by the accuracy of the trapped soul's prediction. It had actually predicted that Jianchen would appear in the provincial city. Master Chanlong, do you want what I obtained from God King Duanmu's dwelling? Jianchen stared at the dignified, sage-like Master Chanlong. Master Chanlong immediately stopped smiling when he heard that. Cold killing intent appeared in his eyes, and he said, "That's only the first matter. You ruined my plans, so how can I spare you? Do you really think you can kill me just by yourself, even if you're a late over god?" Jianchen said coldly. "Do you really think you can act as you please before me with your 2 strands of powerful sword qi?" Master Chanlong growled. With a wave of his hand, he immediately tossed out a few formation banners. As his hand seals changed, the banners joined together. In the blink of an eye, it reassembled into a huge python again. Kid, you're actually here too." To no surprise, the trapped soul remained within the huge python. He saw that it was Jianchen with a single glance and spoke in surprise. But soon afterwards, he turned his huge head towards Master Chanlong and said proudly, "Chanlong, I told you this kid would appear in the provincial city of the Dong'an province back then. Do you believe me now? I was right." Master Chanlong, looks like you have guessed right this time. Listen up. You have to stop him no matter what this time. However, Jianchen became filled with shock when he heard the trapped soul's words. How does that trapped soul know that I would go to the provincial city? Jianchen thought in disbelief. Chapter 1781. A fierce struggle against Chanlong. Chanlong, this kid might be young, but he's a supreme prodigy. You can't kill him. Are you certain you want to keep fighting him? The trapped soul asked Master Chanlong. Kex was clearly rather hesitant. Master Chanlong's expression remained the same. Not only did his killing intent not weaken, but it even became heavier instead. He said coldly, "Jianchen ruined it all for me, so how can I let him go? So what if he's a supreme prodigy? Do it." With that, the 8 trigrams disc in Master Chanlong's hand shone brightly. Countless lines of complicated and profound inscriptions flickered, creating a set of armor completely composed of flickering inscriptions on him. At the same time, his hand seals varied, creating formations after formations in space that shot towards Jianqin. What a madman! Qianlong, you're mad. You're even willing to offend supreme prodigies. I can already see that you won't be able to live for another 100 years. I can see your life being ended in the kid's hands in a few decades, the trapped soul said angrily. Although that was what he said, he did not choose to stand around. He swished his tail and directly charged for Jianqin. He said in the meantime, "Kid, you clearly saw everything. The one who wants to do things to you is not me, but that old man called Qianlong. In the future, if you want to take revenge, directly take revenge against Qianlong. Don't blame me." With that, the soul controlled the huge python. With a crack, he sent the python's tail towards Jianqin mercilessly. Jianqin also moved. His gaze was cold as cold, killing intent flickered in his eyes as well. Chaotic force circulated within him, filling up every inch of his body. He did not dodge the python's attack. Instead, he directly charged towards Master Qianlong. Bang! The python's huge tail slammed into Jianqin's back, turning his back into a bloody mess. It revealed white bone. However, as soon as the wound appeared, it rapidly closed up under Jianqin's circulation of chaotic force. He healed up so quickly that the soul within the python sighed in amazement. Jianqin borrowed the force of the attack to charge towards Master Qianlong even faster. He moved with lightning speed. He put his palms together as he controlled the power of the laws of the sword. A white sword chi extended from his hands as it surged brightly. It stabbed towards Master Qianlong's head as if it was unstoppable. Master Qianlong was stern. Jianqin simply moved too quickly. Not only had his huge python failed to stop him at all, but it had even allowed him to move even faster instead. He was unable to finish casting down his killing formation in that time at all. An incomplete killing formation was completely useless against Jianqin with his power. With no other choice, Master Qianlong formed two seals with his hands and called out, "Explode!" With a boom, the incomplete killing formation blew up loudly. Terrifying energy shockwaves wreaked havoc in the surroundings. The energy was so powerful that even peak gods would be reduced to ashes if they were struck. The shockwaves immediately injured Jianqin. He rapidly circulated his chaotic force, and on the surface of his body, chaotic force seemed to be flowing through. He used his tough body to endure the shockwaves. His clothes were reduced to dust, revealing his slender body. Soon afterwards, bloody marks appeared, and blood flowed out. However, in the next moment, all the wounds closed up at a visible rate. Linear lightning release. Jianqin suddenly formed a hand seal amidst the violent energy. As the seal was completed, the blown-back Jianqin turned into a bolt of lightning. He seemed to have become an extremely large sword, shooting towards Master Qianlong with unbelievable speed. Bang! Jianqin used the linear lightning release to stab Master Qianlong with his own body. The armor from the inscriptions of Master Qianlong's 8 trigrams disc immediately dulled while the terrifying force launched him far away. Although Master Qianlong was a late overgod, he mainly focused on formations. Open battles were his weakness. Now that he faced Jianqin, he was unable to use his formations immediately, so he immediately fell into a disadvantaged position. Killing intent flickered through Jianqin's eyes. He pursued Master Qianlong as the huge python attacked him from behind. The python lunged towards Jianqin with its gaping mouth open. With a single movement, Jianqin left behind an afterimage and appeared before the python's heart in an instant. Forming a seal, he used the Daoyuo sword and a golden sword chi immediately appeared over his hand. Jianqin extended his right hand and directly grabbed the Daoyuo sword, heavily stabbing down on where the python's heart would have been. However, the golden sword chi shattered when he stabbed it down. It failed to harm the python at all. The place that he struck was unimaginable tough. "Kid, why are you targeting the place where my defenses are the thickest?" The soul within the huge python said complacently. On the other side, Master Qianlong was already several dozen kilometers away. He had become a black speck. He hovered in the sky, and blood oozed from the corner of his lip. His hands had turned into a blur as he changed between his hand seals as quickly as he could. He began to cast down formations as he tossed out a formation banner. Jianchen knew that he would be at a complete disadvantage once Master Qianlong managed to finish casting down a formation. He glanced at the python coldly before no longer bothering with it anymore. He quickly charged towards Master Qianlong instead. At the same time, strands of sword qi shot out like bolts of light, tearing through the sky as streaks of light towards Master Qianlong. You're not allowed to run. Qianlong wants me to keep you busy. Kid, just blame Qianlong. The huge python swung its tail and stopped Jianchen. Jianchen's face sank. The huge python before him was extremely tough all over. It was quite difficult for him to harm it at all with his current strength. Suddenly, 2 strands of profound sword qi appeared above his head. The profound sword qi were only the size of a finger, but the sword intent they gave off even struck fear into the hearts of late over gods. This again. Kid, don't shoot, don't shoot. Just don't shoot at me. Shoot it at Qianlong. The trapped soul immediately became terrified when it saw the profound sword qi. It rapidly retreated, clearly extremely frightened of the profound sword qi. Chapter 1782. A crisis of life and death. Unless I shoot both strands of profound sword qi, it'll be very difficult for me to deal heavy damage to the python with the toughness of its body. However, the trapped soul seems to fear my profound sword qi very much. Jianchen immediately thought of this when he saw the soul's reaction. Just like last time, he struggled to damage the python in an open battle, but the soul became extremely frightened as soon as the profound sword qi appeared. Even though he knew that Jianchen would struggle to injure him with just a single strand of profound sword qi, he was still terrified. If you keep standing in my way, I'm not going to hold back, Jianchen said coldly. His 2 strands of profound sword qi were extremely valuable. If he could scare away the python, he would rather not use them. I'll move, I'll move. The trapped soul controlled the python to move far away as it looked towards Jianchen with fear. However, upon closer inspection, it was quite obvious that it did not fear Jianchen. Instead, it feared the 2 strands of profound sword qi above Jianchen's head. Jianchen ignored the soul and charged towards Master Qianlong, who was casting down formations. His gaze was icy cold as he shot over as a streak of light. Killing intent surged from him, and he launched the 2 strands of profound sword qi at the same time. Swish! Swish! The 2 strands of profound sword qi whistled through the air gently as they shot towards Master Qianlong with unbelievable speed. Master Qianlong had understood the power of the profound sword qi long ago, so he immediately used his 8 trigrams to block it. At the same time, he completed the final line of inscriptions and bellowed out. The formation suddenly activated, surrounding a region of 100 kilometers. Boom! At the same time, the profound sword qi flew over with unbelievable speed, slamming into Master Qianlong's 8 trigrams disc. The inscriptions on the 8 trigrams disc flickered and dulled. The disc was pushed back and immediately slammed into Master Qianlong's body, shattering the layer of protective inscriptions on him. Master Qianlong paled, but before he had time to catch his breath, the second strand of profound sword qi struck his 8 trigrams disc heavily. The inscriptions on the disc were all reduced to nothingness after taking on 2 consecutive profound sword qi. The entire disc faded and lost all its color before slamming into Master Qianlong again from the great force. Spurt! Master Qianlong vomited blood as he was blown away like a broken kite. He was powerful, but his body was nowhere near as tough as Jianchen's. After the disc struck him twice, he became extremely injured. The second strike caused an especially great amount of damage. Not only had all his organs and bones been reduced to mush from the terrifying force, but blood oozed out from his pores, dyeing him red. Master Qianlong directly fell out from the sky and struck the ground heavily. It created a deep pit as he lay in there, while breathing heavily. He was now powerless, unable to even climb to his feet. If it were not for his cultivation that protected his body, the 8 trigram disc would have probably reduced him to a blood splat. After all, he had not been struck by regular attacks but the god-tier sword technique, the profound sword qi. More importantly, it was a sword technique that had reached the apex of god tier. Even with Jianchen's current strength, he was unable to display the full might of the profound sword qi. However, it was more than enough to deal with over gods. particularly when he used two strands at the same time. Now Jianchen had entered the formation space. He had been taken to a fire-red world that was filled with terrifying heat. It was even enough to burn the air. There were endless chains of volcanoes and pools of magma below him. The volcanoes all spat out fire. It was not ordinary fire, but fire with the power of laws condensed from the laws of fire. The laws had reached the level of overgods. Even the pools of magma were filled with the power of the laws of fire. Even gods would be burnt to a crisp if they fell into these pools. Jianchen became rather stern. Master Qianlong was not skilled in open battle, but he possessed great mastery over formations. He had even garnered the title of Formation Master. As a result, Jianchen feared Master Qianlong's formations very much, and he was unwilling to give him the time to cast any down at all. Unfortunately, he still failed to stop Master Qianlong, allowing him to cast one down successfully. At this moment, the space around Jianchen trembled gently. Space rippled slightly as the terrifying heat in the surroundings soared at an unbelievable rate. It was so hot that even deities would be burnt to ashes in such an environment. The endless chains of volcanoes beneath Jianchen spat out huge pillars of fire towards the sky. From a distance, it seemed like the ascent of fire dragons, making for a grand and majestic sight. They also seemed like pillars that held up the heavens, supporting the world and creating a shocking sight. Jianchen's face changed drastically when he saw the pillars of fire appear. He consumed the last soul recovery pill he possessed without any hesitation, and charged towards the pillars of fire quickly. At that moment he sensed a threat. It was the greatest threat he had sensed ever since his arrival at the Saints' World. It had even exceeded what he felt in the hopeless situation he faced in God King Duanmu's dwelling. The appearance of the threat made Jianchen go crazy. He roared out as he pushed himself to release all the potential in his body, attacking the pillars of fire with his full strength. He could already tell that the pillars of fire that connected the earth and heavens were about to change into another formation, and the formation was enough to threaten his life. Master, destroy the pillars of fire immediately. Once the pillars of fire turn into a formation again, they'll even be able to kill weaker god kings. The sword spirits' voices rang out in Jianchen's head as they panicked. Very clearly, Jianchen truly faced a life-threatening danger this time. The sword spirits that rarely spoke after he had come to the Saints' World had been roused. Master Qianlong lay on the ground as he stared at the formation he had cast down. He wanted to move his arms. However, as soon as he tried to do anything with them, a heart-wrenching pain appeared, and his forehead became covered with beads of sweat. The second form of the formation needs my personal guidance to be completed. Once it reaches the second form, Jianchen is dead for sure. Master Qianlong clenched his teeth as craziness filled his eyes as well. He endured the pain as he tried to move his arms. The second form required the corresponding hand seals to activate, and hand seals required fingers. However, right now, even all his bones had shattered, let alone his two hands. He was unable to move his body at all. Qianlong, you alright? The trapped soul swished its tail as it arrived before Master Qianlong slowly. It sighed gently as it looked at Master Qianlong, and then it said seriously, Qianlong, I thought you'd die to that kid in 100 years' time, but it looks like it'll be today instead. You can't kill that kid unless you complete the second form. Cut the bullshit. Grab my healing pills. I need to heal my arms immediately and complete the second form. Master Qianlong said weakly. All right. Although I know it's very difficult for you to kill the kid today, but I still do hope you can kill him. I really don't like his 2 strands of sword chi, the trapped soul said. Afterwards, it extended an illusionary arm to take out pills from Master Qianlong's space ring and directly fed him the pills. Chapter 1783. Breaking out with full force. Master Qianlong's medicine was nowhere near as potent as the 9 refined life-giving pill from Tong Tian, but it was clearly of high quality. The pills immediately transformed into a powerful healing force as soon as it reached his stomach, expanding through his body. It began to heal Master Qianlong's wounds. However, Master Qianlong directed all the medicinal effects to his arms. He wanted to recover his arms in the shortest amount of time possible and complete the second form of the formation. so that he could kill Jianqin. Hurry up! Hurry up! This is too slow. Master Qianlong worried inside. He had witnessed Jianqin's power, and Jianqin's terrifying recovery rate had shocked him greatly. If he could not complete the second form of the formation that he had cast down after so much effort, he would not be able to kill Jianqin. Quick, feed me all the pills, said Master Qianlong. He did not find the healing speed to be fast enough. Jianqin attacked a pillar of fire that reached into the sky in the formation space with full force. Deafening booms constantly rang out. He used the Daluo sword and the Tai sword technique time and time again. He even used his fists. Jianqin's attacks could be described as a storm-like barrage right now. It was extremely intense, and even mid-over gods would not be able to endure something like that. However, when he barraged one of the fire-red pillars, he actually failed to destroy it. Jianqin calmed down and stopped. He became extremely stern. He glanced past the countless pillars that reached into the sky and growled. Each pillar is connected to the formation space. They're all interconnected. Attacking a single pillar is equivalent to attacking all the pillars here, or even the formation space itself. My attacks have been completely dispersed. Unless my attacks surpass what the formation space can withstand, I won't be able to smash through this formation. This formation is extremely powerful. Even if I shoot out my 2 strands of profound sword chi at the same time, I won't be able to destroy it forcefully. Looks like I can only go with the second option, and that's to waste away the energy of the formation as quickly as possible. Once it loses all its energy, the formation will crumble by itself. Jianqin sat down. As the effects of the soul recovery pill expanded, the power of his soul recovered rapidly. In just a few seconds, Jianqin's eyes snapped open. A strand of profound sword chi had appeared above his head, and without any hesitation, he shot it out directly towards the pillar before him. Boom! A deafening boom rang out in the formation space. The entire formation trembled gently after taking on the attack from the profound sword chi, and it quickly flickered in color, dulling a lot. Daluo sword. Tai sword technique. Sky-severing strike. Jianqin immediately used his various sword techniques after shooting the profound sword chi. Chaotic force revolved around his fist as he hurtled it towards the pillar time and time again. After consuming a large number of pills, Master Qianlong finally recovered some mobility with his arms. Without any hesitation, he immediately gritted his teeth and raised his arms slowly while enduring the pain. He began to form the necessary hand seals. As his hands still had not completely recovered, he formed hand seals extremely slowly. Each new seal would cause him tremendous pain, and his face would pale while his forehead became covered with sweat. As Master Qianlong went from one hand seal to the next, all the pillars of fire in the formation space exploded with light. The countless pillars slowly began to move. The formation was changing. No, Master, use the twin swords. You can't let the pillars of fire change into another formation. Once the formation within the formation is complete, even weaker god kings can be slain. The sword spirit's voices rang out in Jianqin's head. Master Qianlong really is worthy of being a formation master. His formations can actually threaten god kings while he's just a late-over god, thought Jianqin. Although he had fallen out with Master Qianlong already, he still had to admire Master Qianlong's mastery over formations. Suddenly, azure and violet light rose up from Jianqin's body. In a time of life or death, Jianqin could no longer worry about the consequences of having the twin swords exposed. He directly drew them. He wielded the Qing Sua sword in his left hand, while he held the Ziying sword in his right. Huge beams of light emitted from the tips of the swords. As he swung them around, the beams of light sliced at the fire-red pillars with devastating might. Although the twin swords were of the same grade as the flying snow sword, the flying snow sword was nowhere near them in terms of power because the twin swords possessed sword spirits. After so many years of recovery, Ziying and Qing Sua had made some progress even though they were still nowhere near their peak condition. They had been recovering countless times faster than on the Tian Yuan continent after coming to the Saints' world. As a result, the two swords now possessed some power from the sword spirits. A burning presence suddenly appeared on the Ziying sword as terrifying power was being charged up. The Qing Sua sword emitted a chilling presence. It was frigid, enough to freeze off entire regions. It was also extremely terrifying. The sword spirits were using their power source, which was the Supreme Yang Force and Supreme Yin Force. Supreme Yang and Supreme Yin arose from chaos, so they were also known as Supreme Yin Force and Supreme Yang Force. They were so powerful that they ranked towards the top among the 3,000 ways. No weaker than the power of the way of the sword, the laws of destruction, or the way of slaughter. In fact, it was even slightly stronger than the laws that were known to possess the greatest defense. If Supreme Yin and Supreme Yang were united, they would directly create chaotic force. That was the most terrifying power in the world. However, Ziying and Qing Suo had not fully recovered yet, so their Supreme Yin and Supreme Yang force did not possess the power it did when they were at their prime. Outside, Master Qianlong moved between hand seals painfully and arduously. Excitement had appeared in his eyes. He was about to complete the second form. Just one last seal. Master Qianlong smiled victoriously. He had finally relaxed his nervous heart at that moment as well. Rumble. At this moment, a deafening sound rang through the surroundings. Violet and azure sword chi surged into the sky, dyeing the entire region violet and azure. However, the light vanished in just a split second as if everything before was just an illusion. The formation cast down by Master Qianlong high up in the sky had been ripped open. Jianqin emerged from it in a rather horrible shape. His gaze was cold and filled with heavy killing intent. Chapter 1784. Qianlong's flight. Master Qianlong's face became extremely ugly as he looked at Jianqin, who had broken out. He knew he had lost his chance to kill Jianqin. Moreover, in his current condition, he had even lost the basic ability to move, let alone battle. Let's go. Quick, there's a teleportation formation disk in my space ring. Let's leave here quick, Master Qianlong said to the trapped soul. His voice was filled with regret. He was so close. He was so close to killing Jianqin. Qianlong, you finally realized it. You might not be able to live for another 100 years, but living for a few years longer is always better than dying here, the trapped soul said seriously to Master Qianlong. His stern voice made it seem like he was not making fun of or joking with Qianlong. It was also at this moment that a bright, white light surrounded Master Qianlong and the trapped soul. They immediately vanished. The teleportation disc had transported them away. Boom. Just after they were sent away, a golden sword chi struck the deep pit where Master Qianlong lay in earlier. Dust and sand were immediately kicked into the air with a boom. In the distance, Jianqin hovered in the sky. Even though he was rather pale and was in a rather horrible shape, his cold eyes shone brightly. His presence was prominent as sword intent surged towards the sky. I actually let him escape. Jianqin gazed in the direction where Master Qianlong had vanished from. His killing intent did not decrease and became even heavier than before instead. Master Qianlong had forced him to use the twin swords. Although he put the swords away immediately when the formation was destroyed, he did not know whether Master Qianlong could see what was happening within the formation. It's fine if he hasn't seen it, but if he has, I can't keep Master Qianlong around. I have to kill him no matter where he flees off to, thought Jianqin. In reality, his relationship with Master Qianlong had deteriorated so much that even if Master Qianlong did not see the twin swords, Jianqin might not have planned on sparing him anyway. Jianqin sucked in a deep breath and slowly dispersed his presence, making him seem normal again. He gazed into the distance at the provincial city that a formation still enveloped, and did not make his way over immediately. Instead, he flew further away. Before long, Jianqin found a hidden place within a mountain range, and began to heal himself. He planned to recover his strength. Naturally, the wounds from the battle healed very quickly thanks to the superior regeneration of the chaotic body. However, his drained power of the soul did not recover as quickly as his body. Now that he had used up all the soul recovery pills as well, the power of his soul would recover extremely slowly. Master, the twin swords are extremely heavily damaged. They can't be used any longer. You need to find materials of higher grades to refine them again, said Ziying. Once I get out of here, I'll go collect the materials, said Jianqin. Due to the limitations of their materials, The quality of the current swords was just too low. They were unable to withstand the powers of the sword spirits. The sword spirits had used Supreme Yang Force and Supreme Yin Force when Jianchen smashed through the formation, so the swords became heavily damaged. They were covered in cracks and could fall apart at any time. As Jianchen recovered, several dozen gods hovered in the sky within the provincial city. Not only were there the ancestors of the powerful clans in the city, but there were also people from other provinces and other divine kingdoms. Even though they had been trapped by the formation, they had completely forgotten about it at that moment. They all hovered in the formation as they looked in the same direction. To no surprise, they were looking at where Jianchen and Master Chanlong had fought. The formation had restricted the senses of their souls, so they were unable to expand them. However, they could clearly sense the powerful and terrifying shockwaves of energy from there. The shockwaves were so powerful that even from 1,000,000 kilometers away, they all leapt in fright. There are two overgods fighting. Looking at the disturbance, they should be mid-overgods. Looks like the two overgods are going at each other's throats in this battle of life and death. I just don't understand why they had to cast down such a powerful trapping formation to keep us all inside the provincial city. This trapping formation was cast down silently, right before all our noses. Looks like the overgod who cast it down had been scheming about it long ago. I'm guessing that he probably wanted to use the formation to trap his opponent after they entered the city and kill them after that. What a vicious person. Does he plan on wiping out our city like that? If two overgods begin fighting in our city, the defensive formation of our city definitely won't be able to withstand it. How many people will be able to survive the shockwaves? The gods all discussed. Many of them were rather pale as they felt lucky. Fortunately, the two terrifying overgods did not begin fighting within the city, or the outcome would have been unthinkable. At the same time, everyone became riddled with hatred towards the overgod that had cast down the formation. Of course, they did not dare to voice their hatred. The battle in the distance has stopped. Has the battle between the two overgods ended? At this moment, a god said, "It's a pity that we don't know the outcome and who won. It must be the person who cast down the formation." When the formation was activated, I heard someone say, "You really have come to the provincial city. Where do you think you're going? You're staying right here." Just that's enough to decide the victor. I hope that overgod who trapped us here can come back and remove this formation, or we'll be stuck here for a very long time. Many of the gods sighed inside. They were filled with helplessness. The person who had trapped them was an overgod. No matter how displeased they were, they had to put up with it. They did not dare to vent their anger. However, the gods in the city waited for quite some time, but no overgod came to remove the formation. As a result, no one could enter or leave the city. At this moment, a white-bearded old man in white robes suddenly appeared in the sky above the provincial city. Chapter 1785. The Grand Imperial Protector. The old man seemed extremely ordinary. He did not stand out at all, and was just like any other person. He stood there as he gazed emotionlessly at the sealed city below him. At that moment his gaze sharpened. Chanlong sure is bold to seal up a provincial city of our divine kingdom of Pingtian. Do you really think that our divine kingdom is your garden, where you can do whatever you want? With that, the old man extended his hand and gently pressed down towards the tremendous formation. Space seemed to sink with the gesture, and the formation that enveloped the entire provincial city seemed as fragile as glass, directly cracking and collapsing. It was unable to withstand a casual movement from the old man. It's the Grand Imperial Protector. Greetings to the Grand Imperial Protector. The people from the clans in the city all discovered the old man, and they became excited. Without any hesitation, they immediately bowed towards the old man deeply. Admiration covered their faces. The Grand Imperial Protector possessed an extremely great status within the Divine Kingdom. It could even be described as supreme. This was because the Grand Imperial Protector was a God King. Aside from the Divine King, only the Grand Imperial Protector was a God King in the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian. The white-bearded old man clasped his hands downwards. He did not mind the god's politeness. He said coldly, Chanlong has actually publicly sealed up the provincial city of one of our 36 provinces. He's provoking our divine kingdom with such actions. From today onwards, our divine kingdom forbids his entry. If he comes, I'll personally kill him. What? It was actually Master Chanlong who sealed up our provincial city. The gods all became surprised when they heard that it was Chanlong. Master Chanlong was a famed formation master. He possessed extremely great mastery over formations, and his personal cultivation had reached late over God, making him famed in the surrounding divine kingdoms. With a single movement, the white-bearded old man disappeared silently. When he reappeared, he had arrived at the location where Jian Chun and Master Chanlong had fought against each other. Their battle had left the place completely distorted. The ground had sunk and was rippled with cracks, and the chaotic origin energy in the surroundings still had not settled down. There's residual laws of the sword here. In this region, apart from Ling Hogong who has reached over God with his laws of the sword, there's only that Jianchen who suddenly appeared. The white-bearded old man hovered in the sky as he observed the surroundings. Looks like it was Jianchen who fought Chanlong. From the residual presences and some traces, there should have been 3 people taking part in the battle. The third person must have been Chanlong's trapped soul. The old man suddenly closed his eyes. Using his cultivation at God King, he carefully sensed the traces and marks left here. When he opened his eyes, he looked in a certain direction, and to no surprise, that was the direction where Jianchen had traveled off to. There are strands of Jianchen's presence here. Looks like he left in that direction. There's a large amount of blood in the deep pit. The presence of the blood matches Chanlong's presence extremely well, except it is a little chaotic at the same time. It's caused by a teleportation formation disk, and Master Chanlong's presence ends there as well. Looks like in the battle between the two, Chanlong was defeated. The white-bearded old man could not help but gasp when he reached this point in his analysis despite his great mental fortitude. He found it to be rather unbelievable. This was because according to the information he possessed, only Jianchen's comprehension of the laws of the sword had reached the level of overgods, while his personal cultivation was pitifully weak. Although he possessed a powerful trump card, as long as late overgods were careful, it would not be able to threaten them. However, in the battle against Master Chanlong, Chanlong had actually suffered defeat even with the assistance of the soul. He found this rather difficult to believe. Looks like Jianchen is not simple. I have to discuss this with Ping Tian immediately, murmured the old man before suddenly vanishing. Of course he did not truly vanish. Instead, he just flew too quickly, exceeding the speed that the naked eye could capture. This was why it seemed like he had suddenly vanished. In the blink of an eye, it had already been 3 days since Jianchen's battle against Master Chanlong. Jianchen had finally recovered the power of his soul after those 3 days. I've benefited from this battle. My way of the sword has increased some more. I can feel that I've reached the peak of minor achievement. I'm only a step away from partial achievement, Jianchen murmured. He changed his appearance again after making a full recovery, entering the provincial city while keeping a low profile as Yang Yutian. Jianchen became even more cautious after Master Chanlong ambushed him within the provincial city last time. The Divine King really is a bold man. He's actually ordering the arrest of Master Chanlong in the entire Divine Kingdom. Only a God King like the Divine King has the power to order the arrest of a late over God. Find Master Chanlong. There's no need to fight him at all. Just pass on the message as quickly as possible. I've heard that once Master Chanlong is found, the Grand Imperial Protector will personally come to kill him. Master Chanlong is powerful, but he won't be able to fight back at all before the Grand Imperial Protector. Master Chanlong is in trouble now. However, as long as he doesn't enter our Divine Kingdom again, he should be fine. An intense discussion drew Jianchen over as soon as he approached the entrance of the city. He discovered that the Divine King of the kingdom had actually ordered the arrest of Master Chanlong personally. This order for arrest is more like a deterrence. It aims to deter foreign overgods from acting up. The appearance of God King Duanmu's dwelling has drawn over many overgods in the surrounding divine kingdoms. As there are simply too many of them, even the Divine King is unable to stop them all. He can only let the matter develop naturally. Now that the matter of the dwelling has come to an end, the Divine King has begun to show his true might. He's using Master Chanlong's matters to deter the other foreign overgods. They can come to our Divine Kingdom, but they're not allowed to make trouble, or the Grand Imperial Protector will kill them personally. Jianchen understood the intentions of the Divine King very soon, and he smiled indifferently. What he feared the most right now was multiple overgods hunting him down, but now with the Divine King's interference, the foreign overgods would definitely be fearful. They would no longer be as bold. After all, the other overgods were not like Master Chanlong. Their hatred for Jianchen was not as deep. Even if they really did want to move against Jianchen, they had to properly consider if they could kill Jianchen before the God King of the Divine Kingdom could arrive. That's good news for me, Jianchen thought to himself with crossed arms before directly entering the city. He thought some more. It's time for me to settle down here. From now onwards, I am in charge of the Dong'an province. Chapter 1786. The Sun family. Jianchen spent some divine crystals to rent an individual courtyard from a better inn, taking it as a temporary residence. Jianchen sat in the sky above the individual courtyard. He was wearing his luxurious white robes. His long, black hair had not been tied up, draping down his back and reaching his waist. Before Jianchen was all the elders of the Mo clan, the Ando clan, and their two ancestors. All of them sat like Jianchen, except they did not sit in the air. Instead, they all sat on the ground. However, everyone's gazes towards Jianchen were no longer as casual as before. Their gazes were all filled with reverence. Even though Jianchen did not treat the people of the Mo clan any differently after revealing his strength at Overgod, the elders, the patriarch, and even the ancestor had grown distant from Jianchen unknowingly. After all, in their opinion, Jianchen was in a completely different realm from them. The huge disparity in strength had decided that their statuses would change silently. So the people of the Mo clan were unable to behave as casually when they faced Jianchen. I'm out finally. Finally. It has been suffocating. Jianchen, you shut me in for so long that I had even thought that you forgot about me, said Mo Yen. She studied the independent courtyard with much interest as joy filled her face. The only person who remained the same as before was Mo Yen, who still had not grown accustomed to the world where power was everything. She still treated Jianchen the same as she did back when she saved him. Jianchen, is this really the provincial city of the Dong'an province? This is the first time I've come here. I really do want to go out and see how it is. Mo Yen raised her head and stared at the sky. Her gaze was filled with eagerness. Jianchen chuckled when he heard that. The provincial city will probably be rather chaotic right now. Miss Mo Yen will be able to go anywhere you wish in a few days' time. The way Jianchen treated Mo Yen made the patriarch of the Mo clan feel proud. Although he could tell with a single glance that Jianchen did not like her as a woman, he understood that Jianchen had instead begun to treat his daughter as a younger sister, which left him overjoyed. As long as he possessed this relationship between Mo Yen and Jianchen, the status of the Mo clan would definitely rise. Jianchen looked at the people from the two clans and said after some thought, I've gathered you all here today, because I have some matters that require your help. I want to create a clan in the provincial city, but the founding of a clan naturally requires quite a lot of land. As a result, I hope you can help me have a look if there's any good land to be bought. Although I have no reason to fear anyone with my current strength, I am unwilling to forcefully take the land of others unreasonably. After all, this is not the Dark Cloud Mountains. The mine there never belonged to the province in the first place. Although the territories of the Liu family, the Mo clan, and the Ando clan were open for occupation, Jianchen did not want to choose such places because the resources there were just far too lacking compared to the provincial city. The eyes of the people from the two clans immediately lit up when they heard that Jianchen wanted to found a clan in the provincial city. Mo Ling and Ando Fu both guaranteed that they would find a suitable piece of land in the shortest amount of time possible. Afterwards, everyone dispersed across the city, devoting themselves to Jianchen's request. In just half a day, Ando Fu returned. He beamed and said, according to some reliable information I've found, There just happens to be a few powerful clans in the Dong'an province who have lost some gods in God King Duanmu's dwelling. With their remaining strength, they have no right to remain in the provincial city anymore, so many of them plan on moving out. If they really do move out of the provincial city, their current territory will be divided between the remaining clans. We can buy the land from them since they haven't moved out yet. With that, Ando Fu took out a map. He continued, I've already marked down the clans that are moving out. I've found quite a good place among them. Sir, please look. Ando Fu tried his best to show himself off to Jianchen. He knew that once Jianchen founded a clan, he would need a large number of people to make up for the majority of the clan's force. His Ando clan just happened to have many such people. Once the Ando clan assisted Jianchen in founding his clan, the people from the Ando clan would become founding contributors. Their service would be so great that their status would naturally be extraordinary. Jianchen stared at the map for a while before he firmly said, Let's go to the Sun family. The Sun family? Ando Fu was slightly startled. The Sun family was a medium-sized clan in the provincial city, and they possessed an extremely large territory. However, they were a little too remote. Even though Ando Fu had no idea why Jianchen planned on founding his clan in such a remote place, Ando Fu did not dare to say anything extra. He just followed behind Jianchen. All the guards and servants in the large manor of the Sun family moved about constantly. All of them busied themselves with packing up everything as they prepared for the move. However, one of the grand halls in the Sun family was filled with people right now. The old man at the very front was a god, and below him sat over 10 deities and a few direct descendants of the clan who had not reached godhood but still possessed quite some status. It was just that all of them were dispirited and dejected now. The Sun family originally possessed 4 gods, making them a second-rate clan even among the powerful clans in the provincial city. However, with the appearance of God King Duanmu's dwelling, the Sun family had lost 3 gods in a single stroke, making their clan fall from grace. Everyone, where do you think our new territory should be once we leave the city? Said the god that sat at the very front. He was the only ancestor of the Sun family now. Everyone remained silent. The environment for cultivation outside was nowhere near as great as inside the city. They really did find it rather hard to adapt now that they had to leave the provincial city. I can give you a chance to remain within the Dong'an province. At this moment, an energetic voice rang out from outside. With a flash of red, a red figure appeared within the discussion hall. Chapter 1787. The Tian Yuan clan won. The appearance of the red figure immediately attracted the attention of everyone in the hall. The last god of the Sun family, who sat at the very front, looked towards the red figure as well. He did not become excited. Instead, his face sank. He said coldly, Huoluji, I think I already know why you're here. Your Hor family wants our Sun family to pay the price of yielding to your Hor family to remain within the city. The ancestor of the Sun family's voice was filled with scorn for the Hua family. The Hua family was powerful, making them one of the 3 most powerful clans in the provincial city. They possessed a late god, so the Sun family was unable to match up to them at all. However, as a clan that also possessed a god, the Sun family naturally had their pride and dignity. They would never yield to the Hua family, just to remain within the provincial city. The god from the Hua family, Huoluji, completely ignored the ancestor of the Sun family's cold attitude. He shook his head with a gentle smile and said, Senior Sun Jie, you're thinking too much. Your Sun family is one of the powerful clans of the provincial city after all, so how can our Hua family make you yield to us? Then tell me, what did you have in mind? Said the ancestor of the Sun family. He was still cold. Huoluji stood in the hall with his hands behind his back. He smiled faintly and said, It is very simple. Our Hua family hopes to form an alliance with the Sun family. An alliance, sneered Sun Jian. It's probably just an alliance on the surface and no different from yielding in reality. Huoluji, you should return. Even if our Sun family moves out of the provincial city, we'll never yield to your Hor family. A look of pity covered Huoluji's face. He said, Our Hor family has good intentions. We sincerely wish to assist your Sun family, But we never thought that Senior Sun Jian would take it like this. We are helpless about your current situation now as well if that's the case. After a moment of silence, Huoluji continued, Senior Sun Jian, your clan must be planning on moving out of the provincial city. When that happens, your territory in the city will belong to no one. In the end, it'll be split between the other clans. Your Sun family won't benefit at all. I do have a suggestion that will allow you to benefit, and that's to sell your land to our Huo family. What do you think, Senior Sun Jia? A gleam of light flashed through Sun Jia's eyes when he heard that. He said, I wonder what price your Huo family is willing to pay for the land. Sun Jia naturally understood what Huoluji was talking about. Once their clan left the city, the land would indeed end up in the hands of other clans. The Huo family wanted to buy up the land beforehand to avoid the pointless competition between the other clans. Although the Huo family was powerful within the Dong'an province, their power was nowhere near enough to reign supreme. 50,000 mid-grade divine crystals, said Huoluji. Sun Jia wavered slightly when he heard Huoluji's price. Although it was a rather low price for all the land, it was still extra income for the Sun family. If they sold the land, their clan would be able to receive 5 million low-grade divine crystals. If they did not sell the land, they would not be able to keep it anyway. I want this plot of land as well. I can pay 10,000 high-grade divine crystals. At this moment, another voice rang out from outside. A young man walked in steadily from outside. He was wearing luxurious, white robes. Behind the young man was a ruddy, sage-like old man who followed him silently. As expected, the young man was Jian Chen. Huoluji's face immediately became rather ugly when he heard Jian Chen's offer of 10,000 high-grade divine crystals for the land. As for Sun Jia, he beamed instead. 10,000 high-grade divine crystals were equivalent to 1,000,000 mid-grade divine crystals. If the Sun family could make 1,000,000 mid-grade divine crystals when they moved out, it would be a considerable sum. Huoluji turned around and stared at Jian Chen coldly. His face was very ugly, and he growled, I am Huoluji of the Huo family from the provincial city. May I ask which clan you come from? I've come to the provincial city to buy land exactly because I plan on founding a clan. I believe before long, you will learn what my clan is, Jian Chen said calmly. This piece of land has caught our Huo family's eyes. Do you plan on fighting over the land with our Huo family? Huoluji growled. Jian Chen smiled faintly. What a coincidence. This land has caught my eye as well. Since we are both become interested in this land, we'll have to fight it out. The land will belong to whoever who wins. I'm offering 10,000 high-grade divine crystals right now, so I was wondering if you were willing to offer up a higher price. Huoluji ignored Jian Chen. He looked at Sun Jia and took out the space ring he had already prepared. He said, Senior of the Sun family, there are 50,000 mid-grade divine crystals in here. If you have no problems, we can complete the deal. He has already offered 10,000 high-grade divine crystals. If your Huo family wants our land, you'll naturally have to offer a higher price. The ancestor of the Sun family smiled faintly. He did not fear the Huo family. Huoluji could also tell that he was unable to scare the ancestor of the Sun family with the strength of the Huo family. His face sank, and he stared coldly at Jian Chen. He sneered, I'll let you possess this land for a few days, but I must warn you out of good intentions that it won't be very peaceful in the city in the next period of time. I hope you can gain a stable footing in the city successfully. Throwing that out there, Huoluji left with a wave of his sleeve. Jian Chen completely ignored Huoluji's threat. He tossed a space ring to Sun Jia and said, There are 10,000 high-grade divine crystals in there. Please have a look. If you have no objections, we can complete this transaction, and from now on, the land would belong to me. Sun Jia checked the space ring, and a smear of joy immediately appeared on his face before settling the agreement with Jian Chen. From that point onwards, the land formally belonged to Jian Chen. As Jian Chen bought the Sun family's land, the other powerful clans in the provincial city began to move as well. A few of the relatively more powerful clans sent their ancestors to visit the clans that were about to move away in an attempt to buy the land through divine crystals, so that they could expand their own clan's businesses within the city. Basically, All the land in the city had been split up among the clans. Every single clan in the provincial city managed various shops, inns and other businesses. With the superior cultivation environment and the flow of people, they could naturally attract many cultivators to stay. As long as people stayed in the provincial city, the clans would have a constant income. As a result, territory in the provincial city formed a direct connection with the wealth of the powerful clans, so they naturally placed much focus on the land of each clan that they could obtain. Chapter 1788. The Tianyuan clan, too. After Jianchen successfully purchased the land of the Sun clan, the other people of the Mo clan and the Ando clan all returned. At this moment, all of them had gathered within the discussion hall of the Sun family. However, there were no more people from the Sun family there anymore. All the people of the Sun family had moved out as quickly as possible. From today onwards, the Tianyuan clan has been formally founded. Mo Ling Ando Fu, I was wondering if you were willing to join my Tianyuan clan? Jianchen asked in a dignified manner as he sat at the very front. He really did possess the bearing of a patriarch right now. Mo Ling and Ando Fu had already made up their minds about joining Jianchen's clan long ago. The two of them both announced that they would be joining the Tianyuan clan without any hesitation. All the elders from their clans would join as well. It was also at that moment that Jianchen formally founded the Tianyuan clan. The first group of members was composed of the people from the Tianyuan continent, the Mo clan, and the Ando clan. Patriarch, all clans that move into one of the 36 provincial cities in the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian require the permission of the Divine Kingdom's officials. The first condition to move into a provincial city is to possess 3 gods. We've already fulfilled that. We just need to seek the royal city's permission, said Mo Ling. He explained the various rules of the Divine Kingdom to Jianchen in detail. Every century or millennia, you must pay 30% of your income to the royal city. However, all clans that have the right to move into the provincial city, but do not have territory, can receive a personal command from the royal city after gaining permission, so that the other clans in the provincial city must hand up territory that can be purchased. If a clan in the provincial city has less than 3 gods, they must move out. If they don't, the other clans must destroy them. The people responsible for this area in the royal city might even come personally. Jianchen immediately frowned when he heard about all the rules the Divine King had set down. The Divine Kingdom really had many rules, making it very difficult for him to adapt. What if you've reached over God? Jianchen asked. Overgods possess extremely great status within the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian. If you've reached Overgod, you only need to pay 10%, and the provincial city where the Overgod resides can be directly handed over, so that the Overgod can rule over it. The royal city will not interfere. Even if there are new clans that want to move into the provincial city, they don't have to ask the royal city for permission anymore. They'll only have to ask the Overgod. Ando Fu said fervently. Overgods basically ruled supreme in an entire province. They were insurmountable existences. Jianchen gently knocked the arm of the chair he sat on with his knuckles. After some thought, he said, if that's the case, we don't have to ask for permission from the royal city. Mo Ling Ando Fu, go summon your scattered clansmen. Now that our Tianyuan clan has just been founded, we're in desperate need of people. Spend the next few days to properly decorate the clan. Once it's all completed, send invitations to all the powerful clans in the city. We're going to hold our founding ceremony formally. What? We don't have to ask for permission? Mo Ling and Ando Fu were stunned, but excitement soon filled their faces. On the next day, the plaque that represented the Tianyuan clan was hung high up above the main entrance. However, the Tianyuan clan had just been founded, so no one knew about them. There was barely anyone who knew about them at all in the entire city. A few of the clans in the city, along with the Hua family that Jianchen had competed with for the territory, naturally learnt about the founding of the Tianyuan clan. However, now that quite a few clans were moving out of the provincial city, the territories were being divided up once again within the city, so the clans in the city all busied themselves with taking over the empty land. For this period of time, No one paid too much attention to the new Tianyuan clan, including the Hua family. Jianchen founded the clan in the provincial city, only to provide a quiet environment for everyone from the Tianyuan continent to cultivate. He had no desire for any more territory, so he did not try to take over any more land after buying the Sun family's territory. Moreover, with his current strength, he basically reigned supreme in the provincial city. According to the rules of the Divine Kingdom, the city was already his territory. No matter how much land the other clans occupied, he could make them spit it all up with just a single word. This was because the royal city would not interfere if a clan with an overgod wanted to take the entire city as their territory. Mo Ling and Ando Fu used a special method to gather all their scattered clansmen. In just a few days, all the people from the two clans arrived in the city in small groups, gathering at the Tianyuan clan. At the same time, the Tianyuan clan sent out a notice in the city for the recruitment of guards. A clan could not be founded with just them. They needed a large number of guards and servants to deal with regular affairs. They needed to recruit these people from elsewhere. Of course, Jianchen let Mo Ling and Ando Fu handle these matters. Although he had founded the clan, he was unwilling to waste his time and energy on these miscellaneous matters. He became a completely irresponsible patriarch. As Mo Ling, Ando Fu, and so on poured their hearts out to decorate the Tianyuan clan, Jianchen arrived in the back courtyards that had been labeled as forbidden grounds. He saw that Shangguan Mu'er, Xiao Jin, Xiao Ling the White Tiger, Houston Rui Jin, Hong Lian, Heiyu Nubis the seven-colored heaven-devouring beast, and the few people from the world of Forsaken Saints had all appeared outside. Jianchen stood before them and smiled warmly. He took out a bottle from his space ring, and as he opened it, a dense fragrance immediately emerged. It smells so good. Big brother, what is it? Xiaoling bounded before Jianchen. She stared at the bottle in Jianchen's hand with her large, bright eyes, and she could not help but gulp. She had begun to drool. The fist-sized seven-colored heaven-devouring beast fluttered over as well. It also stared at the jade bottle with its small eyes. It was filled with eagerness. Seeing how greedy Xiaoling had become, Jianchen could not help but knock her head. His gaze was filled with uncontainable love as he said to everyone, "This is liquid lime. It's extremely valuable. Just a single drop of it is enough to modify the constitutions of those below godhood, allowing them to cultivate with ease. It can also temporarily raise your ability to comprehend, making comprehending the laws of the world even easier. While you still haven't reached godhood, the liquid lime will be the most effective, so ingest a drop quickly." Afterwards, Jianchen gave a droplet of liquid lime to everyone. Just like that, he lost most of it. In the end, only 5 drops of liquid lime remained in the bottle. Chapter 1789. Entering seclusion. Collectively, everyone marveled at the droplet of liquid lime floating before them. Although this was the first time they had seen liquid lime, they all understood the value of it extremely well. It had probably far exceeded Jianchen's description. However, just how long had it been since Jianchen came to the Saints' world? Not only had he founded a clan in the provincial city of the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian during this time, but he had even obtained such precious liquid lime. As a result, everyone felt admiration from the bottom of their hearts for Jianchen. The Origin Realm cultivators from the world of Forsaken Saints experienced the most mixed emotions among all of them. They had even been Jianchen's enemies in the lower world. Xiongzhong in particular had even engaged in a battle of life or death with Jianchen. Yet now they had come to the Saints' world with the Spirit King and Jianchen. During the time they spent in the Bright Moon Divine Hall, Jianchen had treated them as equals with the people from the Tianyuan continent. Every time he came to deliver divine crystals, he would give the people from the world of Forsaken Saints a portion. Right now, Jianchen had actually gifted them a drop of such valuable liquid lime as well, so that they could reach godhood easily. The Origin Realm cultivators from the foreign world were all filled with gratitude. Everyone ingested their drop of liquid lime with excited and mixed emotions before immediately entering seclusion. Jianchen did not leave the region that he had labeled as forbidden grounds. He sat down where he was when everyone entered seclusion to watch over them. He also understood that as the territory of the provincial city was being divided up again, there would definitely be a few clans with a certain amount of power who would go all out for some empty plots of land. He could even sense the shockwaves from battles between gods from time to time. As everyone broke through to godhood, they could not be disturbed at all. So Jianchen personally remained here to watch over them and prevent any accidents. After all, among the people who broke through, there were many people that Jianchen regarded highly. There were even some that he regarded to be more important than his own life, so he could not allow any accidents to happen to them at all. Boom. A deafening boom rang out in the distance, and it basically shook up a portion of the city. Gods had begun fighting in the provincial city again. Layers of defensive formations appeared faintly in the air, nullifying as much as 90% of the shockwaves. However, the remaining energy still wreaked havoc in the surroundings as a great gale of wind. This was not the only disturbance. There were disruptions from fighting in other parts of the city as well. The flames of battle seemed to have contaminated the current city, making it very unpeaceful. Many powerful clans took part, and even the clans that were ranked towards the bottom worked together, and they also took part in the fight for territory. Only the Weiner clan, and the newly founded Tianyuan clan that many people did not know about stayed out of the fight. The Weiner clan had completely lost the right to fight for territory. They had lost 2 mid-gods, so the clan only had 2 early gods present. If it were not for the other god who had been out traveling, they would have probably lost the right to remain in the city long ago. It was busy in the Tianyuan clan. Everyone busied themselves with arranging the decor, fixing buildings, planning structures, casting down protective formations, and so on. These tasks could not be completed in a short amount of time. The disruptions in the city lasted for 3 days before finally settling down. The empty land had been divided, and it was also at this time that the clans in the city finally looked towards the Tianyuan clan. At the same time, they sent a large number of scouts to check on the reality of the matter. They even infiltrated the clan through the public recruitment the clan was holding. Ancestor, I've already investigated the current situation. The Tianyuan clan is formed from the Mo clan and the Ando clan, but they don't seem to be the actual people in charge. A middle-aged man stood in a discussion hall within the Hua family as he reported all the information he had obtained. Up ahead sat a god of the Hua family, while all the deity elders stood to the 2 sides below. Have you found out the origins of the founder of the Tianyuan clan? The ancestor asked. Ancestor, the patriarch of the Tianyuan clan is extremely mysterious. I haven't obtained any information on him, and I haven't even seen him before. However, there's a forbidden zone in the Tianyuan clan. Their elders are personally stationed there, and we can't enter that place. The ancestor of the Hua family pondered and said, looks like the mysterious patriarch of the Tianyuan clan is in the forbidden grounds. It doesn't matter where he is. Are we, the great Hua family, supposed to be afraid of a clan that has only just been founded? And the territory of the Sun family should have belonged to us already, but we never expected the Tianyuan clan to take it instead. We have to redeem our dignity. At this moment, Hua Luji walked in from outside with a sunken face. Luji, what do you plan on doing? The seated ancestor said. Hua Luji was also an ancestor of the Hua family, so they possessed relatively similar statuses. If I've guessed correctly, the patriarch of the Tianyuan clan must be that kid. I'd like to see just how long his Tianyuan clan can last in the provincial city after acting so arrogantly before me. Hua Ge, don't interfere with this matter. Leave it to me, Hua Luji said to the seated old man. Although all the powerful clans had learnt of Jianchen's identity when he took over the divine crystal mine, not all the gods had gathered there. Basically, only the strongest gods of each family had gathered in the discussion hall back then. As a result, although Hua Luji had heard that an overgod had taken over the divine crystal mine, he had no idea who this overgod was, nor had he seen an image of him. Luji, since the Tianyuan clan is bold enough to fight against us for territory, they must have some confidence. You must not act recklessly. Let's look into the matter some more, Hua Ge said. Inside the Tianyuan clan, Mo Ling and Ando Fu were currently engaged in an intense conversation over how the formations in the clan were supposed to be arranged. Mo Ling, that doesn't seem to be a great idea. The provincial city itself already possesses a large-scale energy-gathering formation. As a result, the origin energy in the city is several times denser than outside. If we also cast down an energy-gathering formation near our Tianyuan clan, wouldn't we be stealing quite a large portion of the origin energy in the city? Ando Fu frowned. He felt that it was not a good idea. Chapter 1790. Disturbances in the provincial city. Mo Ling chuckled aloud and rubbed his bald head. The entire provincial city basically belongs to the patriarch now. How would there be any problems if the patriarch created an energy-gathering formation within his own territory? Moreover, with the support of the patriarch, our Tianyuan clan is a clan with an overgod at the very least. If we act the same as the other clans, how will we be able to show them our status? Fair enough. Let's do that then. Since the patriarch has already delegated the general affairs to the two of us, we should do our best and complete it to the best of our ability and not disappoint the patriarch, said Ando Fu. Afterwards, he and Mo Ling immediately went off to arrange the matter. At the same time, the Hua family began to move. Several of their deities left the clan with groups of guards, scattering into several dozen groups across the city. They all surrounded a few inns and shops before smashing the plaques and signs forcefully, turning them to dust. Afterwards, they replaced them with plaques and signs they had prepared beforehand. The new signs all possessed the symbol of the Hua family. All the shops and inns that possessed this sign belonged to the Hua family. The guards and elders from the Hua family only touched the signs that possessed the unique symbol of the Tianyuan clan. These businesses originally belonged to the Sun family, but ever since the Sun family sold their land to the Tianyuan clan, the businesses naturally ended up with the Tianyuan clan. All these people belong to the Hua family, and all the signs they're destroying seem to belong to the newly founded Tianyuan clan. The Hua family clearly wants to take over the businesses of the Tianyuan clan forcefully. What a pitiful clan. They've only just been founded, and before they can run their businesses, the Hua family has forcefully taken over them. The strong prey on the weak. Who can you blame for the Tianyuan clan for being so weak? What can the Tianyuan clan do even if the Hua family wants to abuse them? The Tianyuan clan offended one of the three most powerful clans as soon as they moved into the provincial city. It'll be a gloomy future for them in the provincial city. I had even planned to become a guard for the Tianyuan clan. Looks like it's better to remain distant from that clan now. The matter of the Hua family taking over the Tianyuan clan's businesses spread through the city very quickly. In just a short time, everyone learnt about it, and it became the topic of conversation. However, the Hua family was not the only clan that forcefully took over the Tianyuan clan's businesses. As one of the three most powerful clans as well, the Dong family began to move, taking over the remaining businesses of the Tianyuan clan. Working together, the Hua family and the Dong family took over all the businesses of the Tianyuan clan. Soon, the Tianyuan clan was only left with their manor. The movements of the Hua family and the Dong family against the Tianyuan clan had raised quite a large discussion in the provincial city. However, without any doubt, everyone took pity in the Tianyuan clan for what they had gone through. The Tianyuan clan's response was as expected. They did nothing as if they had no idea that others had completely taken over all their businesses. There was an extremely large courtyard within the provincial city, and a stone tower that was several hundred meters tall stood in its depths. At this moment, two old men sat on the top floor. From the presences they gave off, they were both gods. The two of them were the ancestors of the Nanyun clan, Nanyun Tong and Nanyun Haobai. Uncle Tong, why do I feel like you've become more and more cowardly lately? You're even so cautious about a small clan that has only been founded recently. Look at the Hua family and the Dong family. After taking over all the businesses of the Tianyuan clan, the Tianyuan clan hasn't given a rat's ass about it at all. They dare not to. If you had listened to me, our Nanyun clan would have been able to claim at least 20% of the Tianyuan clan's land. It'll provide our clan with quite a large income. Even if the royal city orders us to hand the land over in the future, the Tianyuan clan will still have to pay a huge sum to buy it back. Nanyun Haobai was perplexed. Nanyun Tong shook his head gently. He stared in the direction of the Tianyuan clan and said gently, "How by, the Tianyuan clan is not as simple as they seem on the surface. If you pay close attention, it'll be pretty obvious that although the people below godhood are unsettled and are panicking after the two clans have taken over all their businesses, all their deity elders and their two early gods remain extremely composed." "Perhaps they were already expecting this," said Nanyun Haobai. Nanyun Tong shook his head again. His eyes deepened and he said, "If I've guessed correctly, the provincial city is about to change." "It's going to change?" Nanyun Tong was confused. Huoluji hovered high in the air above the Hua family as he gazed coldly in the direction of the Tianyuan clan. He sneered, "Tianyuan clan, this is what happens when you offend our Hua family. I'd like to see how you gain a stable footing in the provincial city from today onwards." Huoluji's voice was scornful towards the Tianyuan clan. At this moment, a huge formation suddenly appeared in the direction of the Tianyuan clan. With the appearance of the formation, all the origin energy in the provincial city immediately became chaotic. Soon afterwards, the origin energy gathered towards the Tianyuan clan rapidly. The sudden occurrence immediately attracted everyone's attention. As they looked towards where the origin energy gathered, they all became stunned as disbelief flooded their faces. Huoluji's disdainful expression froze at that moment. He became slightly stunned as well as he gazed in the direction of the Tianyuan clan dazedly. Gradually, disbelief filled his face as well. The Tianyuan clan has actually set up a large-scale energy-gathering formation, drawing over around 40% of the origin energy in the city. What is the Tianyuan clan doing? How can they be so reckless? Huoluji murmured. The Tianyuan clan's actions had stunned him. Such a large energy-gathering formation had basically taken away 40% of the city's origin energy. Even the three most powerful clans in the city would not dare to do something like that, as it would directly get in the interests of the other clans in the city. The final outcome would be that they would become enemies of the entire city. All the powerful clans and experts who had settled down in the city would gang up against them. At the same time, a huge uproar rose in the streets of the city. Is the Tianyuan clan stupid? How can they do such a dumb thing? How will all the powerful clans in the city just stand by when they want to take so much origin energy for themselves? The Tianyuan clan could not even resist the abuse from the Hua family and the Dong family. Now they've done it. They've offended all the clans in the city in a single stroke. As everyone discussed in the streets, powerful presences immediately appeared in various places across the city. Many gods from the clans of the city flew towards the Tianyuan clan with hostility. Chapter 1791. A single strand of sword chi in the Hua family. Huoluji hovered in the air dazedly for a while before gradually sneering. He immediately flew towards the Tianyuan clan along with another ancestor of the Hua family. The Nanyun clan and the Dong family also had gods that hurried towards the Tianyuan clan aggressively. People from the three strongest clans of the provincial city had begun to move. The Tianyuan clan was just a tiny newly founded clan, yet they dared to set up a large-scale energy-gathering formation in such a public manner, robbing the entire city of 40% of its origin energy. Their action had already gotten in the interests of the other powerful clans in the city severely. None of them would allow something like that to happen. Xiaogang, do not interfere with what's happening with the Tianyuan clan. Come back. However, just when the god from the Nanyun clan had flown out, an ancient voice rang out from the great stone tower. Nanyun Gang was startled, and he became slightly perplexed. He glanced in the direction of the Tianyuan clan, before following the instructions of the voice, flying back to the stone tower. This was because the voice came from one of the three greatest experts in the provincial city. He was also the strongest in the Nanyun clan, Nanyun Tong. Xiaogang, you don't have to ask too much about this. All you need to do is pay attention, and you will understand very soon. Before Nanyun Gang could say anything after he returned to the stone tower, Nanyun Tong had already spoken out. His gaze remained fixed in the direction of the Tianyuan clan during the whole time. Over a dozen gods had already surrounded the Tianyuan clan now. They were the ancestors of various clans, and they all hovered high in the air, looking down on the Tianyuan clan. However, all the elders and even Mo Ling and Ando Fu remained their usual selves when they faced the encirclement of so many gods. They remained composed. The other members of the clan, as well as the recruited servants and guards, became extremely pale on the other hand, as if it was the end of the world for them. We're done for. We're done for. How can the ancestors of the Tianyuan clan be so dumb? This is the provincial city, not some rural wilderness. Why did they cast down such a large energy-gathering formation? Now they've done it. They've offended all the powerful clans in the entire provincial city in a single stroke. Sigh. I've only just joined the Tianyuan clan as a guard. I had thought that I would be able to get a good cultivation environment so that I could further develop my strength, but I never thought that the ancestor of the Tianyuan clan would have no understanding of the rules of the city as well. That's it. The Tianyuan clan has become the public enemy of the entire city. It'll probably be impossible for them to remain in the city in the future. I better leave the Tianyuan clan quick before they start fighting. Many guards and servants chose to leave the Tianyuan clan without any hesitation. First, the Hua family and the Dong family had taken over all of the clan's businesses and territory, making it very difficult for them to develop in the future. Yet now, they had even offended all the clans in the city. They could all see the end of the Tianyuan clan. Immediately, quite a few people fled through the main entrance of the clan as quickly as they could. Less than a third of them remained. Of course, these people had all been recruited from the city lately. None of the clansmen from the Mo clan and the Ando clan had left. The people of the two clans did not stop these people from leaving because the people that they had recruited basically belonged to an agreement where they would only work when they were willing. They would serve the clan, and the clan would provide them with an environment for cultivation methods, divine crystals, and so on as remuneration. Mo Ling and Ando Fu hovered high in the sky as well. They faced the gods, and they remained calm. They clasped their hands towards the people calmly, and Mo Ling said, "Although our Tianyuan clan has already been founded for several days, the internal arrangements have not been settled yet, so it's still overly early for everyone to come and congratulate the founding of our clan. Once we complete all our arrangements, the patriarch will personally send invitations to everyone and formally announce the founding of the clan." The faces of all the gods gathered here darkened slightly. The Tianyuan clan had basically stolen 40% of the origin energy in the city. They had come to settle that problem, not to congratulate the clan for anything. Mo Ling, take apart your energy-gathering formation immediately and compensate us with 1 million mid-grade divine crystals, or your clan won't be able to remain in the city for 3 days, said a god from the Dong family. His face was sunken. 3 days? Isn't that a little too much time? The Tianyuan clan has taken away so much origin energy, which will affect everyone in our Hua family. If you don't compensate our Hua family with 10,000 high-grade divine crystals, your clan won't be able to remain within the city for 2 days. Our Hua family will not allow your existence, sneered Hua Luji. 10,000 high-grade divine crystals? The Hua family sure has a large appetite. The 1 million mid-grade divine crystals that the Dong family asked for was compensation for the entire city. The divine crystals will go to all the clans. Yet the Hua family wants 10,000 high-grade divine crystals just for themselves. A few gods from other clans thought to themselves. They could all tell that Hua Luji truly wanted to drive the Tianyuan clan out of the city. Again, Mo Ling and Ando Fu remained at ease when they were faced with the unreasonable requests of the two clans. Ando Fu stroked his long beard and said, "We're not the patriarch, so we can't make any decision about taking apart the energy-gathering formation or paying compensation." The face of the god from the Dong family turned cold. He said frigidly, "Since you can't make the decision, I'll make it for you." As he said that, the god had already raised his hand. He directly pressed down on the buildings in the clan up ahead. As his hand fell, the origin energy in the surroundings surged violently, instantly condensing into a huge hand that was several hundred meters across. It slammed down towards the ground with shocking might. The ancestor of the Dong family had already reached mid-god, so he did not fear Mo Ling and Ando Fu at all. He directly tried to destroy the Tianyuan clan before them. The faces of Mo Ling and Ando Fu changed slightly. They immediately tried to stop the Dong family ancestors' actions. But at this moment, a streak of light shot out from the forbidden grounds enveloped by formations in the Tianyuan clan with lightning speed. It directly collided with the palm of energy from the ancestor of the Dong family. The attack was nullified easily, while the strand of sword qi continued towards the god of the Dong family in the air. Before he could even react, the sword qi had punched through his chest. The expression of god of the Dong family changed. Blood spurted from his mouth, and shock covered his face. He stared at the forbidden grounds of the Tianyuan clan. The expressions of the other gods gathered there changed at that moment as well. They also gazed towards the origins of the sword qi in shock. Chapter 1792. Ancestor Yanhu? Who is it? Who's so that powerful that they can easily wound a mid-god? Is the person the patriarch of the Tianyuan clan? The patriarch of the Tianyuan clan is actually so powerful. Surely the patriarch of the Tianyuan clan isn't an over-god. The gods from the various clans of the city all became very perturbed as their hearts churned. Everyone disperse. Do not disturb the breakthroughs of my friends. If there is a second time, I will not show any mercy at all. At the same time, an indifferent and emotionless voice boomed out from the forbidden grounds of the Tianyuan clan. None of the gods could send the senses of their soul into the forbidden grounds because formations protected it, so they had no idea what was going on inside. It's his voice. Huoluji's face became extremely ugly when he heard the somewhat familiar voice. He immediately thought of the young man who had stolen the land of the Sun family from him several days ago. That young man is actually so powerful. It is to the point where he can injure a mid-god with just a single strike. Such strength has even surpassed late god. Is he an over-god? Huoluji immediately paled. No, that's impossible. It's impossible for him to be an over-god. There are only so many of them in the divine kingdom of Pingtian, and all of them are supreme existences. How can they be so bored that they've come to the Dong'an province to buy land? That's just completely unnecessary. Huoluji denied his guesses firmly. According to the rules of the divine kingdom, any overgod possessed the right to take over an entire province and make the province their territory. The entire provincial city would also be his property, so there would be no need for them to buy land like what Jianchen had done. Moreover, Jianchen had even bought land in a relatively remote region. That was not something that an overgod would do. At this moment, two other figures shot over from the distance with lightning speed, arriving above the Tianyuan clan in a short moment. It was a middle-aged, scholarly man in red robes and an extremely handsome young man who only seemed to be in his 20s. Their appearances immediately caused the other gods in the surroundings to gently clasp their hands in greeting. There were even quite a few people who revealed fear in their eyes. This was because the two of them were part of the three great experts of the provincial city, who stood beside Nanyun Tong. They were both late gods. I am Dong Yunjian, and I have come to visit the patriarch of the Tianyuan clan. I am Huojun, and I have come to visit the patriarch of the Tianyuan clan. Dong Yunjian and Huojin both stared at the forbidden grounds of the Tianyuan clan sternly, as they spoke with clasped fists. The patriarch of the Tianyuan clan had managed to heavily injure a mid-god, and he had even done it in a fashion where the mid-god could not fight back at all. Both of them believed that they could not accomplish this, and only overgods could reproduce such results. All the gods present looked away from Huojun and Dong Yunjian at that moment. They all stared at the forbidden grounds of the Tianyuan clan that was encased by formations. At the same time, the figures in the surroundings flickered. Gods from all over the city gathered over one by one. Not only had all the gods from the more powerful clans moved out, but even the gods who did not belong to the provincial city had come as well, causing the number of gods gathered here to reach into the 50s. In just a short moment, all the gods within the entire provincial city had gathered above the Tianyuan clan. Although the large energy-gathering formation in the Tianyuan clan had attracted everyone's attention earlier, they did not take the matter to heart, as this was a problem for the clans that belonged to the city. However, it was very likely that an overgod had appeared in the Tian Yuan clan now. This matter was extremely important, so it raised the attention of everyone. Even in the divine kingdoms around the divine kingdom of Pingtian, overgods possessed extremely great statuses, let alone the divine kingdom of Pingtian itself. They were known to be the peak force of a divine kingdom. This was because regardless of the divine kingdom of Pingtian, or the neighboring divine kingdoms, they only possessed around a dozen overgods across the entire nation. If the overgods who had died in God King Duanmu's dwelling were taken into consideration, some of the divine kingdoms possessed less than 10 overgods now. This was more than enough to demonstrate the rarity of overgods. The patriarch has already said to not disturb the breakthroughs of his friends. Once you cause them to fail due for some reason, you should be able to imagine the consequences. Mo Ling held his chest up high as he hovered in the air, speaking to everyone in high spirits. Everyone, please return. In a few days, our Tian Yuan clan will hold a founding ceremony. At that time, you will naturally be able to see the patriarch himself. Ando Fu added in amazement. Several years ago, he had to act submissively before these gods simply because he was afraid of offending them. However, he could now directly act as he wished before these gods. Even the 3 great experts of the provincial city could do nothing to him, and they were unwilling to offend him. The gods of the provincial city naturally had nothing more to say in response to Mo Ling and Ando Fu's words. They all continued with a few words of courtesy before leaving. The ancestors of the clans in the provincial city treated the Tian Yuan clan completely differently now. They had come all sunken-faced, but they had left enthusiastically, and some even acted politely. They did not dare to speak about the energy-gathering formation in the Tian Yuan clan anymore. Wait. Hua Luji of the Hua family and Dong Xingri of the Dong family have been impolite towards our patriarch, so please stay behind for the judgment of the patriarch. Just when the people of the Hua family and the Dong family were about to leave, Ando Fu suddenly spoke out. The expressions of the 2 late gods from the Hua family and the Dong family changed when they heard that. The faces of Hua Luji and the mid-god from the Dong family, who Jianchen had wounded, sank, becoming extremely ugly. Luji, you should stay in the Tian Yuan clan for the time being. Be sure to properly make it up to the patriarch, Hua Jun said indifferently. Shengri, you should stay behind for now as well. Dong Yunjian said to the mid-god of his family as well. He was filled with helplessness. In the end, Hua Luji and Dong Xingri both stayed behind. They had basically become prisoners. Even though the person who wanted Hua Luji and Dong Xingri to stay behind was Ando Fu, the strongest experts of the Hua family, and the Dong family did not dare to object. This was because the Tian Yuan clan possessed an overgod. Before an overgod, the 3 great experts of the provincial city were a joke. In the blink of an eye, all the gods gathered at the Tian Yuan clan dispersed, while the disturbance the energy-gathering formation caused calmed down just like this. The gods of the Hua family and the Dong family passed on orders as quickly as they could, returning all the territory they had taken from the Tian Yuan clan. They had even replaced the destroyed signs with replicas that were exactly the same. The other gods did not sit around idly when they returned to their clans either. They gathered all their elders to hold an emergency meeting as they discussed the Tian Yuan clan sternly. The Tian Yuan clan had an overgod, so this would affect the provincial city extremely greatly. The addition of an overgod to any provincial city would directly alter the city's fate. The 2 early gods who had fought against Jianchen from the Weiner clan gathered together as well. Their faces were extremely ugly. The overgod from the Tian Yuan clan must be Jianchen. I never thought he would found a clan in the provincial city. This is an utter disaster for our Weiner clan. Sigh. Right now, Jianchen has just founded the clan, so he has been held down by various matters, which is why he still hasn't bothered with us. Once he has gotten the entire provincial city under him in the future, he'll probably start moving against our Weiner clan. After all, we fell out with him outside God King Duanmu's dwelling in the past. The 2 gods from the Weiner clan discussed with much worry. Anxiety and bitterness filled their faces. Great-grandfathers, why have you become so worried? At this moment, a young man in embroidered robes walked in from outside. He smiled faintly, possessing the joy and excitement of coming home from a long journey. When the two early gods saw the young man, they were stunned, but it was soon replaced by joy. They both cried out, "Xiao Yan." The young man was the ancestor who had left the Wainer clan for almost 10,000 years, Ancestor Yan. Chapter 1793. Breakthroughs to Godhood. Ancestor Yan's full name was Wainer Yan. His talent was extraordinary, and he was the most outstanding clansman ever since the Wainer clan was founded. In just 30,000 years he had reached early god, becoming the fifth ancestor of the Wainer clan at such a young age. Afterwards, he spent 5,000 more years to go from early god to mid-god. Even with the entire divine kingdom of Pingtian in perspective, there was barely anyone who could match up to his talent and cultivation speed. The Wainer clan, on the other hand, held very high hopes for Wainer Yan. After breaking through to mid-god, Wainer Yan went traveling all by himself, and had just returned today. Great-grandfather Tsong, great-grandfather Xuanguang. How come I don't see great-grandfather Sun and great-grandfather Ti? Wainer Yan smiled with a sense of closeness. The great-grandfather Sun and great-grandfather Ti, he was referring to, were naturally the two mid-gods of the Wainer clan, Wainer Sun and Wainer Ti. Wainer Yan was also an ancestor of the Wainer clan now, making his status equal to the other gods. However, due to his age, he always referred to the other ancestors of the Wainer clan as great-grandfathers. Wainer Tsong and Wainer Xuanguan became gloomy when they heard the question. They said, "Xiao Yan, just too many things have happened in the Dong'an province recently. Your great-grandfather's Sun and Ti have already fallen." "What? Great-grandfather Sun and great-grandfather Ti are already dead?" Wainer Yan's face changed suddenly, and his smile disappeared. It was converted into grief. Afterwards, Wainer Tsong and Wainer Xuanguang explained everything that had happened in the recent years to him, including the opening of God King Duanmu's dwelling, and the battle with Jianchen outside. They hid nothing. "Xiao Yan, both your grandfather Sun and grandfather Ti died in God King Duanmu's dwelling. They lost their lives to the killing formations cast down by God King Duanmu. However, we find it very fortunate now. Fortunately, you weren't in the Dong'an province when the dwelling had opened. Otherwise, you would have probably been doomed as well. Just too many gods died in God King Duanmu's dwelling. Let alone gods. Even quite a few overgods died. There were even late overgods among them." Sai, Wainer Tsong and Wainer Xuanguan said slowly. When they mentioned the dwelling of God King Duanmu now, they were no longer enthusiastic. There was only indifference and melancholy. "Great-grandfather Sun, great-grandfather Ti, how did you just go like that? You didn't even see me unite the entire Dong'an province beneath me. You didn't even see the day when our Wainer clan would become the greatest clan in the Dong'an province," Wainer Yan murmured to himself. He was extremely grief-stricken. The eyes of Wainer Tsong and Wainer Xuanguang immediately narrowed when they heard Wainer Yan's words. They looked at Wainer Yan with brimming interest as disbelief flooded their faces. At the same time, there was eagerness and excitement. Even the Hua family, the Dong family, or the Nanyun clan did not dare to say the bold and lofty words of uniting the entire province and becoming the greatest clan in the province, because late gods were not enough to rule over an entire provincial city. Although late gods were peak experts in the Dong'an province, there were many other gods in other clans as well. Early and mid-gods were not the opponents of late gods in single combat, but they could deal with late gods if they worked together. A late god would be unable to reign supreme within a provincial city. If a late god tried to do that, the other clans would definitely band together to suppress the late god. Even late gods would die when they became completely outnumbered by experts of a similar level. As a result, for a clan to dominate an entire provincial city in the divine kingdom of Pingtian, and many of the other divine kingdoms in the surroundings, they would need an overgod. Only overgods could reign supreme in a provincial city. "Xiao Yan, what's your current cultivation?" Wainer Tsong asked. His voice trembled slightly. Suddenly, Wainer Yan emitted a tremendous presence. The presence was so powerful that it had completely exceeded late god, reaching a whole new level. Wainer Tsong and Wainer Xuanguan were greatly shocked when they sensed the chillingly powerful presence. Surprise flooded their faces, along with uncontainable excitement. Overgod. Xiao Yan, you've actually become an overgod. Jianchen currently sat a meter above the ground in the forbidden grounds of the Tianyuan clan, as he guarded over the people who were breaking through. The moment Weiner Yan gave off his overgod presence, Jianchen slowly opened his eyes and gazed in the direction of the Weiner clan. Weiner Yan's presence had only filled the hall of the Weiner clan, and had not extended beyond that. As such, even many of the elders in the Weiner clan had failed to sense it. However, it was not enough to hide from Jianchen's senses. An overgod has actually appeared in the provincial city, Jianchen murmured softly, and a light flickered through his eyes. However, at this moment, the presence of a breakthrough suddenly appeared in the forbidden grounds. The people from the Tianyuan continent had finally stepped into godhood. It's Moor. Moor has actually broken through before the white tiger. Jianchen stood on the ground now. He looked towards where Shangguan Moor cultivated as he smiled faintly. 2 hours into Shangguan Moor's breakthrough, another presence appeared. Vaguely, it was filled with a presence of slaughter, making the surrounding temperature drop slightly. The white tiger has broken through as well. Jianchen smiled even wider. To him, being able to personally witness them reach godhood was an extremely happy matter. Soon after Shangguan Moor and the white tiger began their breakthrough, the others broke through as well, successfully reaching godhood. However, the third one to break through was the 7-colored heaven-devouring beast, which had remained the size of a fist the whole time, never taking a human form. Houston was the fourth person to break through among everyone. Afterwards, Xiaojin, Xiaoling, Ruijin, Honglian, Heiyu newbies, as well as Xiongzhong, Cheng Jingyan, and so on from the world of Forsaken Saints followed. Originally, it was impossible for a few of them to reach godhood so quickly, but due to the droplet of liquid lime from Jianchen that was enough for even overgods to lay their lives down for. They had all comprehended the laws of the world much earlier and formally reached godhood. The simultaneous breakthrough of over a dozen people naturally caused quite the disturbance. However, since formations protected the forbidden grounds, no outsider learnt about their breakthroughs. Chapter 1794. Founding Ceremony, 1. After breaking through, no one emerged from seclusion immediately. They only came out after 3 days of consolidation. Ha ha ha, I never thought that there would be a day where I, Heiyu, would become a god. In the past, Origin Realm experts were insurmountable existences to me, but now, I can crush some of the weaker Origin Realm sovereigns with just a finger. Heiyu laughed aloud. In the past, Ruijin, Honglian, and he were trapped within the artifact space like prisoners. They did not even know what the outside world looked like. Yet now, in less than 100 years, he had gone from being a prisoner to a deity. It had only been less than a century, but both his status and strength had undergone a tremendous change. Heiyu felt like it was all a dream. Haha, I never thought that I, the great newbies, would become a deity one day. I do wish that I could return to the ancient times of the Tianyuan continent. With my strength as a deity, the 4 supreme experts who surpassed Saint Emperor are nothing. They'll all be standing beneath me. Newbies also chuckled aloud. He was in extremely high spirits. Although the other people who had become deities did not say anything noble, their faces were also plastered with excitement and joy. Jianchen could not help but smile from the bottom of his heart when he saw how overjoyed everyone was. At that moment, he felt extremely at ease as well. This was the first time Jianchen had experienced this feeling, this mood, after coming to the saint's world. As he saw everyone's joy from becoming deities, he also thought about his firm standing in the provincial city. Jianchen felt like all the hardships, fighting, and killing in the past few years had been worth it. This was because all the fighting and killing he had gone through was just to create a safe land for his friends and family that had come up to the higher world with him. Jianchen, it really has been tough for you in these past few years. Shangguan Mu arrived before Jianchen in her purple dress. She stared at Jianchen affectionately with her enchanting eyes. Jianchen smiled as he looked at Shangguan Mu's heavenly beauty. He gently raised his hand and rubbed her cheek. His eyes were also filled with affection as he said gently, As long as you all can live a peaceful life, everything I do is worth it. Shangguan Mu'er did not say anything. She wrapped her slender arm around Jianchen and pressed her head against his chest gently. She understood that Jianchen had done everything in the recent years for them. It must have been very tough for him to be outside all alone. Although they had no idea what kind of dangers Jianchen had encountered, they could tell their severity when they saw an unconscious Shen Jian delivered into the divine hall before. Jianchen also wrapped his hand around Shangguan Mu'er gently. He became extremely calm. At this moment, he experienced a certain type of warmth that he had not felt in a very long time. The two of them did not speak much, and spent their time together silently. To them, silence was better right now. From afar, the people who had just broken through silently dismissed themselves. They did not make any sounds as they departed, leaving time and space to Jianchen and Shangguan Mu'er. The next morning, the deity elders all left the Tian Yuan clan simultaneously to deliver invitations. They flew towards various locations of the provincial city, as they sent the invitations to the powerful clans one by one. The elders were not people from the Tian Yuan clan, and they were all originally from the Mo clan and the Ando clan. However, there was no longer a Mo clan or an Ando clan in the Dong'an province anymore. There was only a Tian Yuan clan. All the clansmen of the two clans had become part of the Tian Yuan clan. The Tian Yuan clan wants to hold a founding ceremony. It's extremely likely for the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan to be an over-god. We must go to their founding ceremony. Has the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan finally begun to move? Looks like the Tian Yuan clan will dominate the provincial city from today onwards. Immediately prepare rich gifts. In 3 days, all the gods in the clan shall come with me to congratulate the Tian Yuan clan. The invitations from the Tian Yuan clan raised the attention of all the people in the various clans. Their ancestors all held the invitations as they sternly ordered others to prepare gifts. Ever since the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan revealed his strength, the status of the Tian Yuan clan in the provincial city had been rising silently, becoming an existence that no one dared to provoke anymore. All the powerful clans had to accept the invitation from the Tian Yuan clan, and did not dare to decline it. In 3 days, you three come with me to visit the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. In the huge stone tower within the Nanyun clan, one of the 3 great experts of the provincial city, Nanyun Tong, said sternly to the 3 other gods of his clan. The Weiner clan had also received an invitation from a deity of the Tian Yuan clan. After losing 2 mid-gods, the Weiner clan had descended to a point where they were one of the weaker clans in the city. If it were not for one of their gods who had gone out journeying, the Weiner clan would have lost the right to remain within the provincial city. At this moment, Weiner Tsong, Weiner Shuangguan, and Weiner Yen sat in the air within a room. The invitation from the Tian Yuan clan was held in Weiner Yan's hand. He pinched it between 2 of his fingers casually as his young and handsome face revealed that he was in deep thought. Xiao Yan, what do you think of this? Weiner Tsong looked at Weiner Yan and asked him. Let's let Xiao Yan make all the decisions regarding this. From today onwards, Xiao Yan's words will be absolute in the Weiner clan. We 2 senile old men will both listen to Xiao Yan, said Weiner Shuangguang. Now that Weiner Yan was an overgod, his status naturally differed from the past. Even though Weiner Tsong and Weiner Shuangguan were Weiner Yan's seniors, they would behave politely before Weiner Yan from time to time. They did not even dare to speak too boldly. Weiner Yan said while in thought, I never thought that a second overgod would appear in the Dong'an province. This is rather unexpected. Although the origins of the overgod in the Tian Yuan clan are rather mysterious, he's still an expert at the same level as me. Our clan naturally has to attend his founding ceremony. 2 overgods have appeared in the provincial city. Who'll be the one who controls the city in the future then? Weiner Tsong said gloomily. Let alone the divine kingdom of Pingtian. 2 overgods had never even appeared in the provincial cities of the neighboring divine kingdoms either. Only the royal city of a divine kingdom would possess many overgods. Weiner Yan smiled coldly in response to that. He said, the Dong'an province will naturally be in our Weiner clan's control. Our Weiner clan is the proper clan in the provincial city. I naturally have no objections if the Tianyuan clan wants to remain in the provincial city. In fact, I welcome them. I'd even give them quite a large piece of land. However, if they want to reign supreme within the provincial city, I can only kick them out of here. Chapter 1795. Founding Ceremony 2. There were no absolute secrets in the world. Soon after the Tianyuan clan sent invitations to the other clans in the provincial city, the upcoming founding ceremony caused quite an uproar within the provincial city. When the Tianyuan clan was first founded, there were barely any people in the provincial city who paid attention to them. There were even many people who looked down on the small, newly founded clan. However, it was a completely different case now. The gods in the provincial city only suspected that it was extremely likely the patriarch of the Tianyuan clan was an overgod. Many other people had completely no idea about anything regarding the Tianyuan clan. However, many people could tell that the Tianyuan clan was not simple. Just the simple fact they possessed such a large energy-gathering formation, and were still fine spoke volumes. As a result, the Tianyuan clan had basically become the center of everyone's attention. Anything related to the Tianyuan clan would garner the attention of everyone. The founding ceremony of the Tianyuan clan was naturally not an exception. An extremely vast city sat on a land extremely distant from the Dong'an province like a slumbering, primordial beast. Just its ancient city walls that were covered with marks left behind by time was over 1,000 meters tall. From afar, it seemed to reach directly into the heavens. The city walls really could be described as towering into the clouds. It was majestic and extravagant, making for an extremely imposing sight. The city surrounded by the walls was almost boundless as well. It was several dozen times larger than the provincial city of the Dong'an province. Just traveling between the eastern and western gates of the city would take a relatively long time. For ordinary people, it would have even been impossible for them to cover that distance in their entire lifetimes. This city was the royal city of the divine kingdom of Pingtian. In the center of the royal city stood an ancient yet dignified royal palace. This was the most sacred and revered place in the entire divine kingdom of Pingtian, because it was where the divine king and the grand imperial protector resided. The two of them were the most powerful existences in the divine kingdom of Pingtian, as well as the only two god kings. In the depths of the royal palace, inside a majestic hall, two people currently sat before each other as they focused their attention on the chessboard before them. One of them was a white-robed old man with a long white beard. He seemed extremely ordinary, just like a regular mortal. His appearance was the type that would struggle to raise any attention if he stood in a crowd. The other person was a middle-aged man in purple robes. His face was resolute, and his eyes shone brightly, giving off a sense of dignity. The middle-aged man possessed the vague presence of a ruler. The middle-aged man was the divine king of the divine kingdom of Pingtian, while the old man before him was the grand imperial protector. A Tianyuan clan has appeared in the Dong'an province. From the analysis of the information from the people below, the Tianyuan clan was probably founded by Jianshin. What do you think of it, Pingtian? The grand imperial protector held a white piece in his hand as he hesitated for quite some time while speaking calmly. You thought of Jianshin extremely highly before, and since he can even repel Chanlong, he's very extraordinary. He'll even be able to become a god king in the future. Although this Jianshin did seem to appear out of nowhere, so his origins are rather mysterious, that's not important. What is important is that since he plans on developing my divine kingdom of Pingtian, we naturally welcome him very much. After all, with every extra overgod our divine kingdom possesses, the stronger we grow, said the divine king. You share the same thoughts as me. Whether Jianshin is a citizen of our divine kingdom of Pingtian or not, we have to rope him in no matter what. Even if we ignore his strength, just his background is enough for us to do that. The Grand Imperial Protector said plainly as he stroked his beard. The Divine King raised an eyebrow and said, Are you talking about the soul that Jianshin assisted in God King Duanmu's dwelling, as well as the young man who saved him in the end? That's right. Before God King Duanmu passed away, he had managed to plant a foot in the primordial realm. He protected himself with the power of his laws. Even if we wanted to get through it, we'd have to spend quite some effort. Yet that soul could pass actually through. And that young man who appeared outside was actually protected by another god king. That means that the organization behind him possesses a primordial realm expert at the very least, said the Grand Imperial Protector. The Divine King nodded. After a moment of thought, he called outside, Xiando. With that, a black-robed, burly middle-aged man walked in from outside. He clasped his fist towards the Divine King and the Grand Imperial Protector. A sliver of reverence appeared on his face. To no surprise, the man called Xiando was an overgod. The Tianyuan clan of the Dong'an province is about to hold their founding ceremony. Take rich gifts with you to the Tianyuan clan, and congratulate their patriarch for me. The Divine King said sternly. Yes, your majesty. Xiando clasped his fist before backing away. In the icy world of the frigid snow province, Bing Lu stood before a huge, icy mountain with his hunched back and dragon-headed staff. Behind him was a middle-aged man in luxurious robes. He stood there politely as he even held his breath. The middle-aged man was the current patriarch of the Yubing clan, Bing Lin. Bing Lin, prepare rich gifts and personally visit the Dong'an province to congratulate the Tianyuan clan on their founding. Also greet the patriarch of the clan for me, Bing Lu said without even looking back. Yes, ancestor. At the same time, Gohan Shui, Feng Buell, and Eugene all sent people to the Dong'an province as well. There had been a total of 5 overgods who had struck it off with Jianchun in God King Duanmu's dwelling back then. Only Ling Hogong did not react to the founding ceremony. Ever since he left God King Duanmu's dwelling, he seemed to have completely vanished. No one knew where he had gone. 3 days later, the Tianyuan clan was particularly busy. All the powerful clans in the provincial city had arrived at the clan early with great gifts, and without any exceptions, the people leading each group of clansmen were gods. The people all smiled and behaved extremely politely. Even when the Hua family and the Dong family possessed gods who were held captive in the Tianyuan clan, they did not dare to show any displeasure as if they had completely forgotten the matter altogether. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.